you have reason to bitch. Although I don't know, how do you look at this? Would you say the Panthers made progress by making it into the second round of the NHL Stanley Cup chase? Now you have to win 4 rounds to win the thing, so pretty far off. They did get out of the first round for the first time, but didn't look too comfortable doing it, didn't they? Did they look like somebody that had to go to the bathroom the entire time they were sitting at dinner? But didn't want to get up because they want to go take a dump in a public bathroom while eating dinner there. That gets a little obnoxious. And then you come out of the stall and there's somebody else in the bathroom. They're just combing their hair and they're like, whoa, man, get a little fiber in your diet. Why don't you? I mean, try some wheat, anything.
The time. Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
And a very pleasant good morning, everybody, on this fine Thursday. Jeff Deforrest, Mike Lubie, Lubitz with you. Happy to be alongside here for the Defo Show, another edition of the Defo Show. Normally, we would have a good portion of the program dedicated to the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. And I know we have challenge players chomping at the bit. I believe Lenny, the Chronic, made special arrangements to get back from his visit to Saratoga, which
God,
begs the magic question, why would anybody go to Saratoga when the racetrack wasn't open?
Oh, right? Really?
Yeah, I mean, you want to go Toga. Hey, upstate New York area, it's pretty. It's a nice change if you grew up in a city. I remember when I first went to the campus there at Syracuse University, which I hadn't visited before I actually started attending the school, because it was a last-minute thing. I got in there. I had applied to like 3 colleges. One, the University of Florida, which is very reluctant to accept out-of-state applicants. And they were at that time. They had a very small percentage of out-of-state applicants, and it would have been a big mistake to make that move. Although, let's face it, it'd be nice to have spent my college years in Florida. Certainly, from a weather standpoint, far superior to anything that we got in Syracuse, New York, which is right smack dab in the middle. It's not quite as bad as Buffalo, but the snow belt are the 2 words that you hear most often during the wintertime when people are cursing at the sky. Yeah, fuck you, God. I mean, I don't mean to be sacrilegious there, but I mean, you're cursing out the Creator, saying, how could they possibly ever conceive of weather this cruel, this harsh? If you were in Alaska, maybe you expect it. Siberia, maybe you expect it. But Syracuse, New York, you're thinking it's just a few hours outside of New York City. It isn't like this in New York. Not at all. But nice countryside area. I mean, Saratoga is closer to Albany, New York, than it is to Syracuse, which is about midway through that dreadful ride on the New York Thruway as you go west, and further west, and then you realize, hell, I'm almost in Canada. What the hell am I doing here? No one wants to end up in Buffalo either, but I remember going there and thinking, wow, it's beautiful here. But Saratoga would be the last place I would want to visit at any time, unless, of course, I was going there to take in the races at Saratoga, which is, I think, a thing that a lot of South Floridians end up doing. It's amazing how often, you go to the track and you talk to somebody you hadn't seen for a week or so. Maybe they missed their usual Friday session, and they say, oh, yeah, we were at Toga. Ah, great time. Unbelievable. But Lenny was making his way back. He had a flight delay. He was hustling to try and get here to play the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. And then late last night, a scratch from Dave Gurgles Gurgley, who wasn't able to make it.
It wasn't on him. It's been a hectic week, the last couple of weeks. So he threw it at me like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, 2 weeks ago.
Or maybe last week he threw it at me, and then usually I get a text from him during the week just letting me know that he's in, and I never heard from him.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, let me reach out just to make sure that he's in, and it went the other way. So I was like, oh, okay.
I would have come up with a few questions had I known this, Mike Lubie Lubitz, but when you told me at 2 minutes to 7, I thought, all right, so what was the first team that Joe Madden ever managed?
There you go.
I don't know the answer to that. I'll have to look it
Rays?
up. But, I don't. In pros, I'm talking about maybe minor league. What was his first ever managerial stint? Whoever knows that answer, you're going to win the prize.
You'll know more than
the landlubber's prize. I mean, all you got to do is Google it, which I'm about to do, so that we can confirm that whoever it is that offers this up, gets it right. But anyway, and Andy says he's volunteered to pop up some questions. I could go recycle some of those old questions that I had.
I know you could. It's all right.
But I really don't want to do that. So we'll pay tribute to Hialeah Park in other ways today, because they are great. And I was just thinking as I was getting ready to host what I thought was going to be the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge, that, wow, what wonderful people, man. I can't tell you how much respect I have for these people and the fact that they have backed us no matter what we've done all throughout the years, and to be able to reciprocate that in even the slightest way by advocating that you make your plans to go down to Hialeah Park. I can't tell you how great it is until you experience it. It's kind of like Italy, right? Where now that I've been there, I know what people were talking about. Before that, it always sounded good, but now that I've been there, not only do I know what people were talking about, but I know how I want to approach it the next time to maximize my enjoyment of being in that country. And it's the same thing with Hialeah Park. Right? When you get down there, you realize, wow, this place is really doing it right. A far cry from that James Bond-like atmosphere that we had at the casino in Venice. Which, what was I doing there in the first place? You would have to ask
Great
yourself.
question.
Nobody in sweatshirts. I mean, the boys at the Borgata would not be allowed anywhere near this place, right? With the gold chains and the sweatsuits. You know, the quasi mafia guys that are over there in the corner reminiscing about the good old days. Yeah, I know when Joe got whacked. I know who did it. Who do you like in the fifth? I enjoy that atmosphere also, but this was a far cry from that. Hialeah Park, just a beautiful place to go. Keep it in mind at all times, especially Belmont Stakes coming up tomorrow on our Degenerate Friday show. We'll have Caton Bradar. We had a chance to get a little advance notice on what Caton thinks about the Belmont Stakes, which came up a little bit dull, Lubie. Now, I'm hoping it creates some post-race and during-race excitement because it doesn't seem like there is much buzz. There's no chance for a Triple Crown winner because Rich Strike, who won the Kentucky Derby at odds of 80-1 and could have written a real Cinderella story, a Don Quixote story here. I mean, you can hear the Man of La Mancha screaming in your head. But skip the Preakness because the connection said that probably wasn't ready to race 2 weeks later at 1 mile and 3/16, and that certainly is an opinion, an approach to be respected. If they had the interest, imagine this, the interest of the athlete in mind. In this case, a horse, as opposed to just a money grab. I mean, what would this horse have been worth? They got him for $30,000 had he ended up winning a Triple Crown, which he doesn't seem like a real outsider in this 8-horse field. So he's the third choice in the morning line. He's a horse that obviously came from the clouds. I don't know if he has the ability to contend and contest an early pace in this race, which many people feel the favorite, who was second in the Bluegrass to Cyberknife. I think it was a Bluegrass, yeah, to Cyberknife, to just jog, go all the way, because it is odd, Lubie. You would think that longer races would favor horses that come from behind, would you not? And that sprint races naturally would favor horses that run on the front end.
Yep.
And that is not necessarily anything close to the truth, especially when it comes to the Belmont Stakes. If you have a horse that, I sound like Andy Byer now, if you have a horse that can go right to the front and press the pace on its own, if you have a horse that can create a relatively soft pace for itself because nobody has the early speed to challenge, that horse often just goes all the way and merrily hops along. And even if it has to stagger home in the last quarter of a mile, the closers don't have anything to run at, and they're not necessarily used to closing in on a pace from 1.5 mile distance. So, you end up with the front runners winning the race. And the front runner here appears to be maybe the lone speed. Although I'm going to come back with a little taste on Barber Road. I thought that was a trouble trip this horse had in the Derby. Was a non-menacing sixth, I believe. And yet that closing move that this horse was making on the turn, I thought was pretty impressive. Unless I was watching the wrong horse, which is entirely possible. And that way I can base all of my handicapping principles on this race, and we can run this analysis by Caton Bradar, a real expert, knowing nothing about what we're talking about, and at the same time acting as if we know, which is really what this business is all about, is it not?
Yes.
I'm watching, I ended up, and this was kind of interesting. I'm on my walk of life yesterday. Now, I had a knee juiced with this substance, I think it was called Synvic or something like that. I'm not sure. It might have been some other type of Vic, but it was a Vic, which is this treatment that they use on osteoporosis and arthritis, where they juice your knee with a thing that eventually coats it. And so you have like lubricant and gel in there. It's literally like taking your knee to a mechanic more so than an orthopedic guy. And, the juice goes in, and it went in for a long, long time. I can assure you, Dr. McKay, a very gentle soul, but at the same time, I mean, it was, a little bit of an issue there as thinking, do I scream? No,
Exactly. You have to take it like a
act
man.
like a man.
Exactly. But you're crying
Right? Like that
inside.
scene in The Godfather, right? You're crying like a baby. Act like a man, right? When the singer there, the entertainer guy, was crying to the Godfather that he can't get any parts anymore. Act like a man. All right. Now you don't want to be cringing in pain in the doctor's office, and I wasn't really. It wasn't so painful as it was. Like you ever had one of those things done to you that's just awkward, and I've
Yes,
been lucky.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Uncomfortable. Yep.
When that juice was going in there, I don't know how Lance stood still for all of that. Barry Bonds or A-Rod. Why? Having like these freaks, not even real doctors administering these kind of drugs. I guess Dr. Galea was a real doctor, Tiger. Why was he not? I mean, he was certified somewhere. Everywhere this guy went, I mean, he couldn't even hang his license. They would just shoot holes in it. This guy was involved in so much illegal crap. But nobody questioned it because Tiger was above reproach. Unfortunately, and we'll get into this a little bit, Phil is not above reproach. But anyway, just to finish the story on the Walk of Life, I'm going on the Walk of Life yesterday, and I decided, you know what, as stiff as this knee was, I'm just going to walk it through, right? You know how the saying goes, walk it off. And I was always very good at this. When I got whacked in a ball game or something, or rolled an ankle, I would try to walk it off and just continue playing.
Keep playing. Yep.
I didn't act like I was in agony or anything. And I was like, no, I'm fine. I'm one of those kind of guys when I'm playing sports. So no matter what, right? I mean, your eyeball could be in the back of your head. And you're like, no, I could see. No, I'll shoot the picture. That's no problem.
Always.
Right?
It actually
like a cyclops.
Always. I was the same way. I'm bleeding. It's like a pickup game. And I'm like, no, I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was largely a Brooklyn thing, maybe a little bit of a New York thing. It kind of carried over to Long Island where, you dust yourself off, you get up and you play, right? Doesn't matter. You're bleeding all over the place. Yeah, no problem. You're going to get out there and play. So I decided to go ahead and, attempt this 4-mile walk that I do. And I was cruising along. Everything was going fine. I was going to make it easy. I wasn't going very fast. I don't walk that fast anyway. But, it isn't like, I'm looking like I'm walking around the track at Century Village. So about 2.5 miles into it, and I kind of know all the measuring points, right? Because you're thinking, okay, geez, I got like another 1.6 mials to go. Now it's 1.5. I measured this out in my car with my archaic methods. I don't wear one of those watches or anything because I don't need to know my sperm count while I'm working out. I just don't need to know that. Oh, what was that? Lubie 0.0. Yeah, it's Butarski.
You still have it. Good for you.
Big, fat, round number. You can draw that right there on the board. What chance do you have here?
That's impressive.
Of agreeing with Ron DeSantis on his gun policies, 0.0. That was another one, too. A lot of stuff to get into here on the program. As Nora O'Donnell says on the CBS News, we have a lot of news to get to here tonight. Well, let's get to it already. Huh? But so I ended up stopping. And it was the first time I had to shut the thing down. It started pouring. I mean, I don't think walking in lightning, when lightning is striking near the area, probably isn't a good idea, is it?
Not good. No, not good. Not good at all.
It was pouring rain. All right, so I stop in. The only thing that's kind of on the way between the areas that I walk to or walk to and from is Stinger's Bar, where I met my lovely wife, Sally, the Mustang, who I survived 11 days with on the road.
I still need to actually hear more about this trip. I'm totally amazed that when your first response when asked about the trip was, it was great. I'm amazed.
No, it was a great trip. I mean,
believe
it was going to be
you.
a great trip no matter what.
Okay, I'm just
I
saying.
won't say that we didn't come close to booking an individual flight home at some point.
I was just waiting for stories,
Yeah.
and they were all amazing, and I'm happy. I'm just confused.
I had Delta Airlines on speed dial.
Okay, that explains a lot.
No, it was fine. We were fine.
I know.
We did well under the circumstances. It wasn't too bad at all. So on the screen is like ESPN 9 or whatever it is. That is like just constant stats and gambling. They have like 2/3 of the screen. This side of the screen is covered. The bottom line is covered. It's all odds. It's all gambling. And they have these 3 guys sitting around in some hotel room in Las Vegas, and then a really hot chick that's giving out selections too, right? Yep. And you tend to gravitate towards her picks. Thinking anybody that hot can't be wrong about everything, much like these ugly fat guys are, who know everything about everything. They have every stat, right? Sabermetrics. I mean, you can see Buck Showalter being channeled through their inner being. They know every single minute statistical clarification and qualification that they could possibly put into an equation to decide who to bet on, right? So what's the only thing that I remember seeing from this because the sound wasn't on. So this guy's best bet of the evening, absolute lock bet of the century, was getting a price. I think you were getting like plus 120 that Klay Thompson would not score more than 19 and a half points.
Ah,
All right.
that was a nice bet.
Nice bet. Yeah. He ended up with like 27 in the game. I mean,
Oh, he did?
he had 20 in the
Really?
third quarter.
He hadn't done anything. He played okay.
He goes to the
wasn't great.
stripe to bury you in the third quarter. No, he shot the ball okay. It wasn't brilliant, but he was like
Yeah, I was
6 for
gonna say he
12
struggled early.
on I think from the
Oh,
field
that's
or on 3-point shots. Ended up going to the free throw line. Hit a couple of key buckets in the stretch there. Where wow, I mean, you hit on something yesterday in our after hours show, Lubie. That was absolutely a brilliant observation. Although it was only 2 games worth. But the Golden State Warriors' dominance in the third quarter of these ball games continued to be part of the pattern last night as eventually the Celtics got on a run at the end of the third quarter to kind of made it look a little bit more plausible. But they were getting annihilated again in the third quarter of this game.
Yep.
So, and it looked like Golden State was going to come all the way back. Steph Curry hits a 3-point shot. And they get a 1-point lead. It was their first lead since 2-0. And that was about midway through the third quarter.
Yep.
And you thought, oh, wow, here it goes again. Same thing. Scenarios game 2. The Celtics just don't have the firepower to match when these guys are on fire from 3-point range. And Klay Thompson was hitting shots after, he needed a Mason card. The first few games, 2 games of the series there. I mean, he was not only throwing bricks up there, these were boulders.
He wasn't close, yeah.
These were Atlas stones. I remember when they had the guy Sven and he was trembling and he was trying to pick up the last Atlas stone. And you're looking at a guy that weighs 470 pounds of solid muscle. Even his head looks like a bicep. And he can't carry this thing. And that's kind of looked like, that's what it looked like with Klay Thompson hoisting these shots up there. It was ugly. But last night he had it back together. He looked much more on form. Draymond Green had a lousy game. It got very physical. Steph Curry, wow. I mean, that Jaja Pachulia rule that they put into the NBA where you can't come forward and not give a guy
another level.
a place to land. They ended up calling a flagrant on Al Horford for making this move. Now, this was not by any means. I mean, you could not have interpreted this in any other way except to say it was just strictly unintentional.
Yeah.
By definition, it qualified as a flagrant foul. And if you look at the replay, Steph Curry's foot comes down on the foot of Al Horford. And you thought, wow, I mean, look at the difference here. You have, on one hand, now Golden State's going to complete, and they ultimately did, a 7-point possession.
7 points in one possession. Amazing.
They were out of it, and all of a sudden they have a 7-point possession because Curry cans the 3-point shot that he took over Horford. Yep. Horford commits the foul. Now he has the old Jerry West thing, 2 to make 1, right? They should have been watching James Conn and the Gambler where West goes to the line with 3 to make 2 and misses them all. But, you know that Steph Curry's not going to even need the second foul shot. And then they get possession, and they can, like a lucky 3. This guy Porter shoots one out of nowhere as the shot clock was expiring. And all of a sudden, bingo, you put 7 points on the board in one possession. And you thought, wow, if that isn't a kiss of death for the Boston Celtics, holy Red Auerbach, I don't know what is. And to the Celtics' credit, they battled back. They got back on their game. The Golden State didn't have enough firepower left. It often happens in the NBA where teams trailing by double digits or, even 20 points. And they make a big run. They come all the way back. They cut it to 3. And then whoosh, like the, rain coming out of the west, the clouds out of the west, making their way to the beach here in South Florida. And then all of a sudden, as if they hit a wall, they just start peeling back. And there it is. Plantation is under an unbelievable monsoon-like condition today. And you're sitting there at the beach with a sun reflector thinking, oh, man, I don't know. I should have brought some more sunscreen out. So the Celtics take, in a pivotal game 3, they take what would be a commanding 2-1 lead. If you looked at the statistics and the history of the NBA teams in these situations, I mean, we're going Mark Lawrence here. After being 1-1 in series, the team that wins game 3 wins something like 82% of the time. They go on to win the series, which makes some sense, especially in these circumstances where Golden State lost the first game of the series on their home wood. And now the Celtics essentially, to win the series, would have to win their 2 remaining home games. And they've got it in the bag. Celtics, 50-1 to start the season and win the NBA championship. I mean, wouldn't it be nice to be one of those guys? Wouldn't it be lovely To be one of those guys that just routinely threw $100 every year on your team to win whatever championship it happened to be, whatever sport it was in, and you catch the Celtics at 50-1 with a pretty good team that started out poorly, but really came on. Probably dropped. I would imagine that, as we were talking about the other day, they had to be more than like close to 100-1.
Yeah, they
after,
were horrible.
Approaching the All-Star break. Correct.
Yeah, they were under 500 like just before.
In disarray. Right? If you thought the Nets are dysfunctional with Kyrie Irving, the Celtics seem to be doubly so. And, unless they could bring back John Hondo Havlicek from the grave, there seemed to be no solution to them having a good season this year. And then they caught fire. And it was great. And Jaylen Brown coexisting with Jason Tatum. That's a nice storyline to the season. This guy, Williams, man, wow. Kind of a Rodman-esque Energizer Bunny type of guy on the boards there and scoring on the inside, playing some good defense. He was a big factor in the game last night. Draymond Green was way off his game, and the Golden State Warriors, who you could never discount, I would think. Are they going to come back, in your opinion? Now, you had them winning last night. I did not. I thought the Celtics would win. I didn't know they'd win by 16. I probably would have been reluctant to lay 3.5, but if you were going to make a wager on the ball game, it seemed like Celtics money line would have been the play. Although, who likes to give up a price in an even, money proposition?
Yeah,
you
no,
don't.
I mean,
Right.
if you're not getting money on going, you might as well take.
Is that just a wuss move to play the favorite on the money line? No, I mean, it's practical. The name of the game is to win, people.
Yes, that's the point. Yes.
To win. Okay, so if you're not sure about 3.5 points, you're thinking this is going to be one of those nip and tuck battles, right? We'll take a little bit off the cheekbone here and see how you look now, Mrs. McGillicuddy. In the meantime, they're shoveling, tire inflation devices up your rear end there to expand your body parts. No, I mean, you can go through all kinds of craziness trying to figure out what's the best way to go. But if you wanted to win and you thought the Celtics were going to win a game, that would have been easy. When you weren't having to give up too much of a price, I don't think, on that, because they were only 3.5 point favorites at home. So what? Would you lay 120 to win 100 on the Celtics last night if you thought they were going to win a game?
Now than the points, I mean, you probably would have gotten even better odds. If they're going
to, a lot of people probably got sucked in Golden State in the points. No.
Oh no, I thought Golden State would win. I thought we'd see what we saw that second half in Game 2, and it was more like Game 1, where they gave you a nice third quarter, and then they went back to playing sloppy, lazy. I've never seen a team that's this good, that's in the dynasty realm, be that sloppy for the stretches they're sloppy. Like, and I'm not, and people are gonna say I'm hating on the Celtics. It's the turnovers they make have nothing to do with the Celtics at the time, and it's not. It's worse to me. Like, I'd rather be the Celtics. Like, Steph will throw a bomb pass like he's Kevin Love to a guy who's defended. Like that, you don't throw the bomb pass to a guy who's defended. Like, and they'll be in transition and do a no look, and then no one's there. It's like, what? This isn't and one. This is Game 3 of the NBA Finals, guys. Like, it's weird for a team that's been to 6 NBA Finals in 8 years to like take 3 minutes ago. All right, we're gonna go and one mixtape. All right, doctor. All right, Silk the Shocker. It's like, what are you guys doing? Like,
remember that kid, the little white kid, the professor?
The professor. That's what I call the Dr. Mint, the professor. Yeah, like
the
that.
Professor. Who was that guy, man? I mean,
he was great.
He was like a mini Pete Maravich. This guy,
he was classic.
I mean, doing all kinds of dipsy doodle moves there, and behind the back, around the neck, through the legs, dribbling like a maniac, like he was, Abner Haynes, and not Abner Haynes, Marcus Haynes, and Abner Haynes was a football player, right? But when you go that far into the distant past here to make references on the show, are you allowed to make mistakes, Lubie?
Yes.
Yeah, maybe so. Anyway, good to have you guys with us. So the Celtics end up taking a 2-1 lead in that series. Rangers tonight against the Lightning. Well, what do you think about there, Mike Lubitz? Because still, I have such a genuine affinity for Gerard Gallant. Still one of my favorite stories in all of sports was when they dumped him off that bus, the Panther bus. I mean, the guy's on a road trip with the team, and the bus is in transit, and they kick the guy off and fire him. They tell him like while he's riding. I mean, imagine these outposts in Canada that you have to traverse to get from like Winnipeg to Calgary. I know they're flying, but I mean, you would imagine. I mean, the airports are nowhere near civilization in these places. Correct? Calgary's probably a really modern city.
Calgary's a city, but like in some of these,
it's way out there, and then it's north of anything you would ever want to be anything close to associated with. Right? They're harpooning whales there for dinner.
They are
Crazy.
I don't know if it's for dinner, but they are.
Hey, honey, hand me my spear. Yeah, no, I'm going to the store.
Go to the store.
Civilization is, in the ice age there, and and in the middle of this, the guy's on a bus trip, right, traveling by bus because they can't even fly out of whatever remote city they were in at the time, and they just dumped the guy right off the bus, the Florida Panthers, and say you're no longer our coach. And then on top of that, to add insult to injury, they don't even give him cab fare, and then they hire like a clown to replace him as a interim coach, a complete buffoon. Who was that guy with the bald head there?
Wasn't it like their VP or something?
Yeah, he was in like
He was
the
like their
mailroom.
player personnel or something. Yeah,
Yeah, it wasn't
a
like he
coach,
was
never
Red
coached.
Berenson coming back from the grave. Wasn't even Red Shanedeans, this guy.
Exactly.
Did Shanedeans ever check out? I think he did, right? He was a guy. Remember, he was like 100 years old. He was still hanging on to the batting cage there. And they go, there he is, Red Shanedeans at spring training, the great Red Shanedeans. I love guys named Red anyway. And I forget, what was his name? Kelly? What was this guy's name that was the coach of the Panthers? That's how forgettable a tenure it was.
He did die. Red Shanedeans did die, yes.
Okay, Shanedeans checked out, so we have that correct. The guy that replaced Gerard Gallant on an interim basis to coach the Panthers was, there's your trivia question of the day, people, was who? Do I have any idea? I want to say his last name was Kelly. Am I even close on that?
I'm getting the list of Florida Panthers coaches.
Something like that. I'm probably way off. But anyway, I mean, that was so insulting. They throw the guy off the bus. They
Tom Rowe. Tom Rowe.
Okay. I know it was something simple. All right.
And then Bob Bugner. Both were names I'd never heard of. Bob
Bugner. That's right. Now, did he become a permanent head coach and get fired after 1 year? Bob Bugner?
Yeah, Bugner had 2 years. So as bad as the Panthers are, I don't think you're an interim coach.
Think about this. You're Gerard Gallant. I mean, you took two teams in their first year, the Rangers and the Las Vegas Golden Knights, to 50-win seasons, an accomplishment only matched by, a real, kind of divisional torch of a human being there, Mike Keenan, when it comes to coaching, who had an oddball style. Now, and Gallant strikes you as one of those old-time, hard-on hockey coaches, right?
Oh, yeah.
Chomping on a cigar there and saying, hey, listen, if you're going to play like shit, you're not going to play. Not going to be one of these guys going, oh, well, it's okay that you hesitated for an hour to take that shot there, Victor Kozlov. But, Vic, you're skating beautifully. I gave you a 6 on those pirouettes you were doing around the goal. Well, why don't you just continue doing what you're doing so we can continue to lose every stinking game?
Pirouettes.
That's not going to be Gallant style, no? I mean, he told the boss to go fuck himself.
He did. Yeah. He's very blunt.
Tell me you can't admire somebody that just walks in a high-profile job like that and just goes up to the boss man, Vinny Viola, and says, you know what, Vinny? Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, that was a dream. I wanted to leave that way so bad. I ended up leaving in the opposite way. I've always been like, that'd be so cool to be able to. They always say don't burn bridges, but like you're so big and you're so confident that you can burn bridges and not give a shit. That'd be great.
Oh, it's the River Kwai for me at this point. I don't care. I mean, look, most of the people that we deal with in this business, at some point at least, believed in you enough to give you a leg up. So, you have to respect that, even if they turn on you the day after, which often happens.
Happens a lot. Yeah.
All right, and that gets us to the hot topic of the day here, Mike Lubitz, and that is the blood money of the Saudis. That is being funneled into the pockets of golfers. A couple of more big-name defectors.
Oh, yeah, your guy, DeChambeau.
Bryson DeChambeau, who's a bit of a freak. Now, if you were going to anticipate somebody making this move, DeChambeau wasn't a reach, and neither was Patrick Radar Reed.
Yeah, the two pieces of work. Yep.
Right. Reed is one of the few guys that actually is accused of being like a dirty player, right? Like
a villain.
Somebody up with his putter on their way to lining up a twisting 60-footer that may put him in a playoff in the Masters, right? Reed isn't afraid to just go ahead and yell, "Miss it, fatso!" Well, some guy that weighs like 118 pounds is in the middle of his backswing. 6 feet tall. He got a little bit of a punch. I don't know that he gets along so well with, the women in his life. I'm not sure. Not that he's a spousal abuser. I don't mean to imply that. But, he seems to be a guy you want to keep your distance from a little bit, Patrick Reed. All of the golfers hate him. Yeah.
You treat him like he's a villain.
So you could see this guy going there, right? You could see DeChambeau going there.
Yes. Well, he's
And actually, from a financial standpoint or any kind of lifestyle standpoint, you could see anybody going there. They're going to play 54 holes instead of 72. They're playing like 8 events total, of which DeChambeau and Reed are going to miss the first one. All right. And now the next like 6, I think, of 8 or 7 that are left are in the United States.
I was going
So
to
they
say
don't even
most
have
of
to go
their
anywhere.
events are here. Like for
Yeah.
being the Saudi tour, they're really sticking it to America.
And they're
Like,
all on
most of the stuff's
forbidden
here.
courses that are owned by Donald Trump. That's the beauty of it.
Well, I suppose,
Right.
okay, is it not being televised? Like, I heard
I don't
that
believe
it's
so.
not
Streaming. They're
televised.
doing. I think Jack Namer may own the rights to this thing. Jack, you're not in bed with the Saudis, are you? Come on.
But that's the thing is, like, they have the broadcaster that you talked about, but then I heard that it's made for TV, but not on TV.
Right.
So it's like, okay, then why are they paying all these guys? Like, who's coming out to these matches?
Because I mean, it's clear. I mean, this is the straight up example. I mean, the loudest example of sports washing that you've ever seen. All right. All of a sudden, the Saudis are being represented by all of these fine people that are respected around the world for their brilliance on the golf course. And look, Phil Mickelson was an especial fan favorite for how long? I mean, people were rooting for him against Tiger, for God's sake.
Oh, yeah.
That crown at the U.S. Open that time on the Bethpage Black course, which I hold the distinction of having played a course that Phil Mickelson was on. Right? Bethpage Black on Long Island. It was great. I don't think it was quite as treacherous as it has become. I think, the natural growth, the chlorophyll and all of that stuff has had a lot to do with making that course. It was always a feared course, Lubie. Like they had, I think, 5 courses there at the Bethpage State Park on Long Island. So I first take up the game. We used to show up there and cut off T-shirts and, shorts that you would, cut off also. And get there before all the doctors and try and line up. So the move was to play the Bethpage Black because that was the most challenging course. And you would have to bring not just a sleeve of balls, but an entire box just to get out of the first 9 holes. So degree of difficulty, very, very tough there. But Phil was the darling of the New York crowd. I mean, remember those? I think if ever golf would be remembered for like just a wild crowd reaction, it was that Bethpage Black U.S. Open where Phil Mickelson was. He didn't win it, but he was in contention, and the crowd was going nuts at every hole. Do you remember that one?
I did, yes. Well, okay, isn't that his home? Like, isn't he from that area or something?
No,
like
he's
that?
from California.
Okay, because I remember that whenever he's in New York, they always like get behind him, like as though he's like the chosen one.
They love him in New York because he's the guy walking around like Paladin in an all black outfit, and he's got a little bit of a gut. He likes to gamble.
Well,
he seemed to be very
the anti-Tiger. His wife was
inclined to engage the crowd, right? And here's Tiger with this prick caddy that he had, Steve Williams, who was cursing everybody out that even stared at Tiger. Right? You're looking at his shoe. I saw you looking at his shoe. And then he would like swat the person with a sandwich. Fire a sandwich in their face. Meanwhile, Phil's like, hey, how you doing, man? Why don't you bet on me? I tell you what, I'm going to win this thing.
He was the everyman. Okay, then that's what it was.
Anyway, he got grilled yesterday. I don't know if I...
No, because he was loud and obnoxious about it, and we all know why. Like, he's defensive. He doesn't want to be there. He has to. Where these other guys are like, DeChambeau's not winning anymore. He's not really making the money he used to, so they're going to throw him $100 million. He's not going to say no. Phil, is down 40 mil. Like, the dude needs the money desperately, so he's
I don't think he needs the money. He came out, I guess he was interviewed by Sports Illustrated. Probably not the guy that got him in all of this jackpot to begin with, who I think also works for Sports Illustrated, that was writing the unauthorized biography, and he spilled the beans about Phil's thoughts about the Saudis. But I mean, so that gets into a very interesting sporting question, Lubie. And we've seen it in the NBA, the hypocrisy. We see the hypocrisy everywhere. I mean, but last place in these 48-man fields, last place is going to pay $120,000. I couldn't help to think many years ago, wasn't that many, but enough to be in the double digits, right? Since it was before I knew you. I was on one of those sort of mainstream radio sojourns where I was doing shows out of all places, 1470 WWNN. So my methodology then was to I would go do a remote every night. I was in a different place every night, and I was charging a nominal amount of money for this stuff, but it was enough to kind of accommodate the need to make a living. All right.
Yep.
So and I was very happy about it. I was a lot of schlepping, but one of the places that I went on a weekly basis was the Inverary Country Club.
Oh, funny. That's
which was
funny.
trying to sort of, beef up its membership. I don't know that this show was really going to help them that much, but, it was worth a shot. And it
So
wasn't
far
enough
from
money for anybody to scream about. So, and I came out there every week. Few people came out to see the show, very few. Because people don't come out to watch a guy do a radio show.
no. They
Unless you're giving
well,
away a car on the scene.
no. When it's the coaches shows, for some reason, but that's
Oh,
always been to me, I guess.
yeah. There's definitely
It's
loyal
the same thing to
coaches.
me. Like it's all the
followers.
same kind of show, but they love that show. That's the show they love.
It's the same, 18 guys that show up at the
Yeah,
coaches
yeah.
shows also. And then the same guys ask the same questions in the same order.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the crowd. That was always one of my favorite things.
I hate that.
Lou's got a question for the coach.
It's the dumbest question.
Coach, that kid you're recruiting out of Odessa, Florida, and then the coach, had no idea. He wouldn't even be able to comment on the thing, right? Because it was like considered high school tampering or whatever that
Yep,
was at the time,
yep.
when the NCAA had some authority to regulate this nonsense that they called amateurism.
Exactly.
I love that Nick is fighting with Jimbo. The two most egregious, there's nothing wrong with it, right? Because it's the way it is,
Rules,
right?
yeah.
And it's about time. I mean, if a kid can make a fortune before he even plays a single pro down, great. He deserves it. I mean, he's essentially playing a pro sport and putting on a professional entertainment enterprise and sparking that, right? You think CBS is paying billions of dollars for the rights to college football because they're not drawing all kinds of attention? And how could they do that without good players, right? If you and I are out there running around,
No one cares.
who's watching?
No one.
He dropped it again?
Again.
Unbelievable. But it's going to be crazy. I mean, now, what should the court of public opinion be on this, or should there be? People will be debating this forever.
Yes, they are. I didn't
Okay.
care that much about it. I mean, look, I don't want to be phony, because if someone's throwing $100 million at me, it's hard to say no. It would just be really hard to ever have an opinion on anything as an American again. Then, like, if I'm going to go
To
over
play
there,
eight 54-hole events, if you don't even have to play all 8.
well, and that's the thing.
And that's
is
it. That's it for the year. They
You
don't
know,
have
I
any
just-
other stuff, I don't think. I mean, I don't know. Do you have to make appearances with the Sheik or something? I'm not sure what that would be. Anyway, what I was going to say about Inverrary was, so I used to go in there every week, Lubie,
Mhm, yeah.
and they have, like, on the wall a little bit of the history of the Jackie Gleason Inverrary Classic,
Oh, nice.
which was contested there at that golf course for, I want to say, maybe, was it a decade or something? It might have even been longer. I
Sure,
remember
longer than that.
watching it on TV, and I remember when I moved to Florida, I thought, wow, this is cool. This is where they had the Jackie Gleason Inverrary Classic. So now on the wall there, they have like pictures of the winners of the tournament. And it was like Lee Trevino and Johnny Miller and I don't know, a bunch of other big time golfers of that era. And they put the prize money next to it. And the top prize, I think the Johnny Miller one was like 52 dimes. $52,000 for winning the tournament. Think about that.
That's so funny.
And these guys are going to play $120,000 for last place. Now, you're talking 50 years later. So you can do the math to make the equation, or as they say, what would it be? Do you accept our conversion? That was it on the ATM machines in Europe. It's like, accept your conversion. Yeah, at knife point, I would accept this.
like,
But now that my card has been swallowed up in the machine, I guess I'll take it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. When they ask that, it's like, it's a little late.
I'm looking, go, wait a minute. This is costing me $370 to get 3 sticks. What is that all about?
Yeah, it's fun.
I thought we had a favorable, ratio dollar to euro.
Yeah, we do. They still stick you.
Yeah, I mean, how much was the commission on that, sir? Okay.
Exactly.
You already got the money. You're walking out of there anyway. Otherwise, you can't even buy a sandwich on the streets. Unbelievable. But yeah, I mean, so think about that. These guys are making $50,000 to win tournaments. Now these guys on the Live Tour are getting $120, not $12,000 like you might see on a PGA Tour. I always look to see what the payoff was for last, because that's of great interest to me. And $12,000 for a golfer probably wouldn't even pay his expenses for traveling, right? He's got his chef he's got to take care of. He's got to give the caddy a little bit of grease. He's in some place, a hotel. I mean, does the PGA pay for hotels? No. They don't pay for travel. You're an independent contractor there. Pretty good deal for the PGA. They make money as a charitable organization, and somehow their executives get paid handsomely.
Yeah, exactly.
My kind of town. Yeah, no. So I don't know, and it's mostly what you would say dissidents and European guys that are at the tail end of what might have been just a semi-brilliant career to begin with. Although Sergio, I guess, is a Hall of Famer, correct? Sergio Garcia. I don't
I
care for
guess.
Sergio, but I root against him. I root for him to miss every shot. When he missed that putt in the British Open, I leaped high out of my chair to applaud the fact that he had choked. Great. So stick it up your ass, sir. No.
Skip your ass.
Phil was stammering, though. I mean, worse than anything I've ever done on this show. He was just stammering as he tried to explain his position on this thing, saying that, well, I don't condone the violation of human rights. Okay, Phil. Explain your presence on the tour then means what? And
Exactly.
he went Mark McGuire on this thing. Like, well,
Not here to talk about that. Yeah.
not here to talk about the past.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like there would be no other reason for you to be here,
Yes. What are you here to talk about?
Mr. Trump.
Like, hello.
What has the world come to? I mean, that is
don't even ask that question.
Title this segment: What has the world come to?
Don't even ask that. Every day I see things, and I'm like, okay, so you were saying the opposite a week ago about this topic, but now this topic you're saying you're on this side. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
What? I feel like the way you talk about highlight, like people are about freedom until it's this topic, and then they're not about freedom with this topic. I'm like, okay.
No, it's
Like, what happened? Like,
what's happened? This divide here politically is asinine at this point.
It's
I mean, it's just
weird.
absolutely
It's like-
asinine.
it's-
I feel so terrible for the poor people that had to spill their guts out about these various shootings in front of Congress yesterday. And it's to no avail. And then the next shot is Ron DeSantis saying that this is an outright attack on your Second Amendment rights. That's all they want to do. And I'm thinking these guys are more likely to repeal the First Amendment than the Second Amendment.
Yes,
Which,
not even about any of that. Who gives a shit?
We just keep saying, look, I mean, it was an amendment that was written in like the 1700s, for God's sake.
Well, and there's so many after it that we totally disregard. It's like that's my problem with the Bible or the Constitution. Like, you only follow what you want to follow. So stop giving me holding up the thing when it's a big ass thing. And you're only following like 3. Like, what about the other fucking, what do we have, 50, 60 amendments? You don't follow half of them. So stop talking about the whole document. Like, I don't care what side you're on. It's
maybe
just
it's time
weird.
the amendment was amended a little bit. It's
there's
not like
amendments to
you got to throw it out the door.
Like,
Well, these people, that Jim Jordan is a real piece of work too. That Jim Jordan, wow.
Yeah, he's a loon.
What are the people in Ohio thinking? My God, I mean, Big Jack Nicholas should denounce any connection to Ohio. What a disgrace. Bernie Kosar, all of the great Ohioans that we've known in our lifetime.
Well, I'm sure Jim
The great statesman from Ohio, yeah. Boom Boom Mancini. Boom Boom was a little loopy when we had him on the show. We'll have to get him on this show, and hopefully we can do it with video. That would be great.
He was fun.
You think we can arrange that? See if you can get a hold. Have your people get in touch with his people.
We had him on a couple times too.
Fox Sports, I think, was the deal. Fox Sports was the source of Boom Boom Mancini.
It was fun,
and it would be great too, because if you had a show where you would just sort of roaming through a bunch of different topics and not necessarily concentrating on anything particular or saying anything of significance, Boom Boom Mancini would be the perfect guy.
Yeah, he just went
to interject in there at this point.
He's all over the place.
Yeah. All right, we're going to come back with more. We wish we could have brought you the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge.
So we have since we weren't playing today. Yeah. Ron is so loyal; he called anyways.
Okay.
I know you came up with some question, or maybe Andy has been throwing questions on one.
I'll look something up during the break here.
I told him we can keep you on, and then you can be our honorary winner for today, since I'll probably sing tonight.
I'd come up with something out of this day in sports right here on the spot. If I can find it here in my New York Post. Yeah,
we can do it after the break. I just wanted to let you know he's there and he would love to play.
Okay, yeah, because I'd like to do it to pay homage to our good friends at Hialeah Park, who really are just absolutely brilliant in everything that they do. The simulcast of the Belmont Stakes. Now, it was interesting because we were talking with Kaiten yesterday on Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. And Kaiten Bradar, of course, TVG, she's going to join us tomorrow with her analysis of the Belmont Stakes. So always expert and really, really enlightening and illuminating to see the way that she approaches this whole thing. But yeah, I mean, and Caton was telling us that there were a lot of short fields on the card at Belmont Park, 5, 6 horse races. Which is unusual too, because I just, of course, the first thing I flop to when I get my New York Post and sit on the throne in the morning with a little, what is that? That is known as show preparation H. People were always big on that, Louis. Why did they bug us about show preparation as if we did nothing? How crazy is that, right? I mean, you're watching sports and following this stuff the whole time. I mean, your entire life is essentially show preparation, isn't it?
Not
For
to
some
name
reason,
names.
if you didn't sit there in a little room before the show and go, yeah, I think we ought to talk about Madonna today, they thought you were like a clown, like you weren't taking the job seriously. What was that all about?
Not naming any names, but I always found the shows that like had 2-hour meetings beforehand and 2-hour meetings after the show actually more boring. Like they were so rigid.
They're horrendous.
They didn't say
because
anything.
they're all the
It's like,
ideas
you
of a
didn't say
guy
anything.
who's like sitting in an office somewhere and never been on the air in his lifetime, right? Because he either had a lousy voice or nobody would hire him to do that job, so he became a program director. Unbelievable.
We ruined Doc Reno. Like Doc Reno would have reams of prep for the pre-games we did, and we never got to any of it on purpose just to see how much we could fuck with him. Like he would be so prepared, and we're like, so at the end of it, how much did you get to? Oh, like 3. Yeah, that's about right. We did good.
Jim Mad Dog Manich, my good friend, dearly departed, and everybody loved the Mad Dog, and he was worthy of that. I mean, he really was a gentleman's gentleman. And worked very hard to be that kind of person in reality. I mean, he was always checking and balancing himself and saying, hey, did I do the right thing here? Although, you know what? When I saw him with those 200 passes for the press box that he was giving out to clients that were sponsoring his various enterprises, I said, that's fucking genius.
That's a great move. How'd you pull that
They're all
off?
in the press box. Rick Weaver can't even see the damn game, man. He's like,
oh man,
hey, Rappy cacked him. Like, what? No, Rick, there's a timeout.
That's a move.
Because Mad Dog's clients were all around the box in the booth. I couldn't get in there to do my shows. I love the Mad Dog.
I'm like, how did you pull that off? I would have loved to do that. That's a great move.
No, and yeah, he was a real class gentleman. There's no question about that. But I know. Speaking of class, Hialeah Park, great place to go. The Belmont Stakes coming up, and a field of 8. It's going to be, in a situation where there are a lot of short fields with big time favorites, like huge favorites in some of these races. Metropolitan Mile, I believe, is on the card, and a bunch of other big stakes races. It's really a great day. It was the first time I ever went to the flats, Lubie. Was at Belmont Park for a Belmont Stakes. My friend Cliff Keller said, hey, why don't we go? It was 1969. And I believe Arts and Letters, very classy. They had some real dignified names of horses, right? Arts and Letters. I think the next year was a horse called High Echelon. It's a nice name for a horse, no? High Echelon. That's what we're trying to achieve here on Ion Channel.
We're trying.
Yeah. So anyway, Hialeah Park be a great place to go for the Belmont Stakes. Let me also toss this in for our good friend Jack here.
There you go.
This invitation to the unveiling. It's Saturday night, Versace Mansion. Very, very classy, this particular event. And it's for a great cause. It's a VIP masquerade gala. And that's going to be Saturday. It's June 11th, of course. The World Peace Concert Fundraiser. So imagine this. Going to have some great music. And you're going to have a chance to raise money to support the Ukrainian refugees who, wow. That story's been pushed in the background while these clowns debate what to do about automatic weapons and assault rifles being in the hands of 16-year-olds. But, and this age change thing isn't going to do a whole lot of good. And these Ukrainian people, my God, I mean, it's as gut.
It's like 4 months. I didn't realize it's been like months. Like, I was like, oh, it must be done. No, and they're on month 4.
No electricity, food. I mean, you can't get anything, can't get anywhere. And then the people that left the country now, I mean, imagine just all of a sudden you've got nothing. And there you are. You're rolling around on the streets of the United States or other countries that you're not familiar with, maybe don't even speak the language. And this is hosted by Robbie Seller. Robbie Seller doing a fine job with this thing. Get more information by just Googling the unveiling at the Versace Mansion. And that is going to be Saturday night. All right, we're coming back with more. Having a good time being with you today. Still a lot more to get into. And the smell of blood money, Lubie. I don't know. I mean, should we be sitting like Judge Judy and trying to decide whether these people, have no moral fiber whatsoever for taking the Saudi tour money, when anybody in their right mind would have to say, "Are you kidding me? That's ridiculous, right? That they're giving Dustin Johnson, and I guess they had to pay DeChambeau upwards of $100 million. Just here's $100 million, and if you never take a swing, it's yours."
Well, that's the thing is like the winning the tournaments don't matter anymore. Like they're getting so much money just to be there that okay, so they win, they get 3 million, they lose, they get 150 grand. You're getting paid
Small
100
fields,
million.
small fields. You're working 3 days a week instead of four. I guess they work 7 days a week. You could say. I'm not sure. I mean, these guys, they just practice all the time or whatever. Maybe not everybody, but nonetheless, it's not like it's easy. Otherwise, more people would be doing it.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah.
All right. So these are the best at at what they do in the world, and they're getting paid handsomely to do it, and more before. But the prize money in these tournaments is in a 48-man field is double, and in some cases quadruple what it would be for a comparable PGA event where you're going against 150 guys. Think about that, Louis.
It's insane.
It's insane, and you've already received $100 million for doing nothing if you never win a tournament, right? If you're Oosty and you decide, hey, I'm just going to have a couple of pints while I go around the course here today, no problem, man. You could shank every ball, and you're still going to be making like a ridiculous amount of money a lifetime, which were these guys going to make? I mean, maybe in endorsement dollars. I don't know. Some of those have been diminished, but were they going to make $80 more million in prize
Oh,
money?
I don't know. I mean,
Weisthazen and guys like this? No. Are you kidding me? They make representative showings, but they're not making that kind of juice.
nah.
So, yeah, it's like in retirement. You're getting paid a fortune. Now, if you take the money, should that be on your conscience? That, you sold out to try and whitewash an image of a country that is known for just human atrocities, including literally like carving up this guy from the Washington Post, Khashoggi, and it's all okay. Like
Look, I just look, and a lot of the golfers aren't guys that give their voice on a political opinion, so maybe that's fine for them. It's hard to say no to that money, but once you take that money, then you can never have an opinion again on anything. Like you can't say that's wrong. Well, I mean, you're getting paid by the Saudis. Like they just do shit blatantly. So, which is fine for some people. For me, that'd be tough. Like, I don't know how I would do that.
All right. Well, Phil's in. And man, I mean, you talk about a Ralph Cramden like press conference that he was involved in yesterday. And he did. He went Mark McGuire. He started talking about, well, you know what? This is great for the game of golf.
Yeah, there you go. I'm sure it is. About humanity.
Not that the PGA Tour, should have, a monopoly on all golf tours, right?
No, but they have other tours. No one complains about the European tour. No one complains about the Nike tour. No one's complaining about competition. So you can't even say that that's it because a lot of these players play on multiple tours and no one gives them golf. Yeah. It's where the money's coming from blatantly. Like,
and you would have to think for the singular purpose of making it seem like these guys are okay.
Yeah, that's
like
what it is.
None of this other stuff was happening.
Yeah,
it's like Putin holding the Olympic Games, right?
100%.
China, same sort of thing. Where okay, look, everything's wonderful here. What are you talking about? Look at these stadiums.
Qatar's still gonna. They literally had to move the World Cup to a time they never play it because of how hot it is. We know there's been so many different pieces on the thousands of people who died.
Yeah,
building these stadiums, and then they'll have a World Cup in November, and it'll be like, all right. Go Italy.
Are they playing that underground, by the way? And it was a shame, too. The Ukrainian team went down. I think they lost 1-0 to Wales.
To Wales, yeah.
In the final qualifying game for the World Cup. That would have been a nice story to follow there. But what a disgrace, right? Remember when Sepp Blatter got up there and said, hey, here's a surprise. Qatar.
Shocker.
Like, what? And he goes running out of there with an attaché chained to his wrist. That had to contain fine, uncut African diamonds that had been delivered by the sheik there, who had two of the hottest babes I've ever seen, one on each arm. The guy from Qatar, who's, am I excused for having this guy's name escape me? So that was a long time ago. I mean, this thing was awarded to Qatar, and
Yeah.
what? They're still working on trying to fucking figure out a way to dig
It's gonna
out
be
of the
this
sand.
year. It's gonna be in November because the summer is too hot. Like
Yeah.
it's happening this year near the end of the year.
Yeah, what's 48 Celsius, man? That's like
Yeah, it's like 100.
even a camel wants no part of being outside. Unbelievable. All right, we're coming back with more right here in a moment. It's the Defo Show. Jeff Deforrest, Mike Lubie, Lubitz, Ion Channel. Having a great time being with you. Many things to discuss, but that was kind of crazy yesterday with this Live Tour, which, I mean, you would have to say that they're not shy about throwing money around. Because, I mean, that's a ridiculous amount of capital, right? That they've paid to have like 4 guys on the tour. That are they really going to get everybody watching some streaming service to see Phil, shoot an 87? I don't know.
This first tournament, I guess, but I'm not gonna.
DeChambeau driving the ball like 500 yards in some of these, places that they're going to be playing. That's going to be great. Right, Mexico City. Do they have a shot of playing there? That would be great. There's Bryson DeChambeau. Oh, he's overdriven the green here on the par 5, 672-yard dog leg left. They're going to pay that guy like a few $1 million to announce this stuff. Imagine that, doing golf. How tough could that be, Lubie?
I don't know. The whole thing's asinine to me. Whatever.
Bones says he should try a 9-iron. I could do that.
I'm done.
Give me a couple of million, right?
Good luck.
16-footer. That's all you have to say, right? Jim Nance, he doesn't. He's like Don Dunphy back in the day, where brevity was really the way that people expressed themselves, right?
Golf announcers barely talk. It's the color guy. The color guy actually does a lot more in that sport than any other sport.
This is for par.
That's the whole thing. Yeah, that's the whole thing.
I could do it, Lubie.
I'm sure.
I'll never turn down a golf announcing job if anybody offers one.
Shouldn't.
All right, we're coming back with more here. Just getting started, actually, and rolled kind of through hour number 1 of the program. We'll take you up until 9 o'clock on the East Coast here. The Defo Show, Jeff Deforrest, Mike Lubie, Lubitz, and back with more in a moment on this Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge Thursday. Now is Ron still on hold?
Yes, he is.
Let's let him get it on here before we do this.
Well, I thought we'd break 30 minutes ago.
Me too. I don't know when I got started.
I've been playing the music since 7:30.
Covered everything from muskrats to muskets. I mean, yeah, including our
been on hold for 30
plea to
minutes.
repeal the Second Amendment. Throw it right out into the trash can. Here you go. Here you go, Ronnie boy.
All right, Ron,
there's your Second Amendment. Shove it right up your ass.
All right, Ron's on if you want.
All right, Ron. This is our friend Ron, who normally is a contestant on the Trivia Challenge. Ron, okay, you want me to toss a question out to you?
Sure, I'm ready. All right,
I'm going to have to come up with something here. Can you bear with me for a second? Because I'm kind of caught off guard by the whole thing, and I'm not even sure if I have this particular.
I wanted to break.
Yeah.
Golf question. Find a golf.
All right. We don't know the answer to this, so we'll have to look it up. What was the first team that Joe Madden, recently fired by the Angels, ever was the manager of at any level of professional baseball? What was his first managerial gig? We should be giving you choices on this, but we're kind of ad-libbing as we go here, and I don't know the answer to this question, so
let's go.
Give us. Yeah, I'm thinking a minor league team though.
Blue Jays.
Blue Jays. Yeah, no, it wouldn't be the Blue Jays. I mean, he managed in the pros at Tampa. That would have been, if his first gig as a manager was at the major league level, it was the Tampa Bay Rays, where he was brilliant. The question came up: is he a Hall of Famer based on what he's done if he doesn't manage again? Now, he did win that title with the Cubs and broke the curse of the Billy Goat.
Yep.
Angels' tenure was nothing smashing, that's for sure. Even with Mike Trout on the roster there, and they were apparently going to be loaded for pitching this year, but I guess that hasn't worked out so well of late since they've lost like 100 in a row. All right, and you wanted to say the Blue Jays. All right, we'll take that into consideration. Although I can probably tell you right away that that's wrong. He had to be at some low-level minor league outpost of baseball purgitude. No, to start out, and you're thinking, I'll never make it from here.
How about the Durham Bowl?
Durham Bulls. That seems like too big of a starting point for Joe Madden. All right, thanks, Ron. Appreciate it. If you're right, we'll keep this question going. Lubie, well, I guess everybody be looking up the answer in the meantime. So what's the point, right?
Everyone
What
will
was
have
it? Do we know?
I'll just look him up. It's not hard. Just look him up on Google, and it'll give his career.
Okay, let's find out where he managed for the first time. Durham Bulls is Ron's submission here, and I would say, like the Boston Crab, it's a submission hold. How come nobody uses a Boston Crab in MMA, by the way, Lubie? The Boston Crab. I mean,
I don't know.
It was an automatic stoppage of the fight. The guy would give immediately, and the ref would jump in there and try and disengage the various components of putting somebody in a Boston Crab. This is in professional wrestling. And why isn't it used more commonly? And the same thing with the Japanese sleeper hold, Lubie. Remember that one? Dr. Jerry Graham brought that into the United States after a trip to Japan. And he came back with the Japanese sleeper hold, and it was a deadly weapon. I mean, it really was.
Okay, so Madden, from what I'm seeing, never did any stints in the minors. He was in the Angels organization for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
75 to 2005. Then was with the Rays from 2006 to 2014. And then I think that's when he went on to the Cubs, won a World Series, their first World Series in 100 years, 2015.
But his first managerial job then would have been the Rays, right?
Yes, the Rays were his first head skipper job.
All right, so Ron was wrong with the Blue Jays anyway. All right, we'll come up with something, but good to get a little element. And thank you, Ron, for suggesting that.
Thanks, Ron, for hanging on for half an hour.
Yeah. I didn't mean to make him do that. I really didn't. I apologize for that, Lubie. I forgot about it, is what happened.
I know you did. I kept trying to remind you.
That's what happens when you're on a roll. Right. All right, we're coming back with more. We'll see if we can do it again in the next hour of the program here. Jeff Deforrest, Mike Lubitz with you. And happy to have you along for the ride here on On Channel. Once again, what about we should play a little George Benson, huh? This masquerade about this thing at the Versace Mansion. It's taking place Saturday night. It's going to be a masquerade gala party with a concert to benefit also Ukrainian refugees. I mean, just a great fundraiser. Robbie Seller behind this thing. You know that anything that Robbie Seller is a part of as a producer. Come on, man. Talking about top-notch stuff here. More information, and it's the Unveiling is the name of the event. The Unveiling, and just Google that, and you'll get all the information for Saturday night. And who knows? We may show up in a disguise of some sort. No? Sure. Lubie? Masquerade?
Sure. Whatever your favorite costume is when you're there, that was us.
Yeah. We could show up as two of the Three Stooges. Exactly. People will immediately recognize us from the show. All right, and thanks again, the people at Hialeah Park. Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge on a Thursday. Tomorrow, Degenerate Friday, the professor with the big board. That's always a lot of fun. And Kate and Bradar from TVG on the Belmont Stakes. So looking very much forward to tomorrow's show as well. And we'll be back with more, finally, in a moment. Now that.
The time!
I think that's the record. It's 8:02. Poker is your game. You're covered in style. And you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Catholic Health Services is committed to care that changes as your needs do. Our full continuum of services is designed to be there throughout your care journey. If you need assistance with daily living, post-acute care following a serious health event, or additional medical care at home, we also offer skilled nursing and palliative and hospice care. Your care needs may change, but our commitment never does. Catholic Health Services, South Florida's #1 choice for post-acute and end-of-life care. Visit CatholicHealthServices.org.
The winner to organize the 2022 FIFA World Cup is Qatar.
We now return to the Defo Show, right?
Somebody loan me a dime.
All right, welcome back to the show. Good to be with you here on this Thursday, Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. I was considering another trivia question here, Lubie, and I think I'm going to toss it out there, and somebody can call in if they'd like to, because we do have to give away that Landlubbers gift certificate, do we not? Courtesy of Hialeah Park, and courtesy of your great connection with Alex Sufreen, a degenerate who really should be a part. When we finally establish our degenerate channel, 24 hours of degeneracy talk, which I think would be a big hit, would it not? Mike Lubie Lubitz. I mean, if I was going to design a channel, it would all be based on gambling, especially since last night, literally, the one thing that I see while I'm at that Stinger's bar trying to dodge the rain and the lightning on my walk of life is a guy telling me that this is his surest bet that he's ever made in his lifetime, that you can bet your children's unborn children's children on Klay Thompson being under 19 in the hook. So, no, I didn't watch the entire ball game. I watched the beginning, and then I kind of, bowed out there for a while. And when I came back, there was Klay Thompson going to the stripe after getting fouled on a jump shot from the perimeter there. And but not a three-pointer. And he's going to the line for two, and he's already got 18 points. And you know he's going to switch to 2 points. And this guy's bet is Burial City, my friends. Burial City. And you're thinking, these are the experts they're putting on TV. I mean, and usually, like I said, Lubie, many, many times, I mean, with extremely sound logic, where you could easily become convinced that they knew everything that there possibly would be to know about where to place your money, except on the winning side. I mean, routinely, just Burial City. Here was a guy that literally, with a compass, he couldn't find a basket. Klay Thompson.
Yeah, until last night. And
He
then
is
there you
shot
go.
putting, the ball up there. And not missing by, like, narrow margins. These are bricks of gargantuan proportion. I mean, just the heaviest bricks I've ever seen hoisted by a guy who was considered a shooter. You can't go into this kind of a shooting slump. This was tin cup with a basketball, wasn't it? I mean, every ball's in the water. What are you talking about, Clay?
Yes.
They're asking Steve Kerr, and Steve Kerr's great at dodging these kind of questions, isn't he? I mean, Steve Kerr can deflect, some kind of question that he doesn't want to answer with more grace and dignity than anybody, but he just kind of gives it that shake of the head and goes, Klay Thompson's a great shooter, and, he's going through a little bit of a slump, but he's aware of it. How can he not be aware of it, man? It's embarrassing.
I hope he's aware of it.
Man. This is like a pro golfer. You know how it's always amazing? They have like a 57-foot putt that's going to go 6 different directions. And if you tap the ball, even more than, one possible dose of speed off target, it's not only going past the hole, but it's going off the green and into a lake. And and he's just missing everything like that. I mean, just blowing it by the hole, and right into some kind of sand trap or little ravine there that they happen to have just conveniently located right by the green, where your ball always manages to find it. Unbelievable, right? One little moat there in front of that hole at the Masters.
Oh, it's always right
how many
there,
balls?
yeah.
Kerplunk City,
Yeah.
right in.
The water. I haven't hit it to the right yet. There's water to the right. I'm hitting it right to the right every time.
Exactly, right?
Oh,
You're
he's found the
trying-
water.
And
Oh.
what do they tell you, the sports psychiatrists? Just block out the obstacle.
Don't think. Okay.
Block this.
Screw you.
Anyway, the golf world is abuzz with all of this
Yeah,
nonsense that's going on here. And I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure how I feel about it. I wouldn't be inclined to go to a streaming service to watch golf. I do enjoy watching golf tournaments. I enjoy betting golf tournaments. And I think it's one of the best bets that you could possibly make in terms of getting value for your money if you were considering losses as entertainment.
Yeah.
Which is a nice way of saying you're fucking crazy. No, if you were considering losses as entertainment, I would have, unless you're just hopelessly out of it right away, which does happen. I mean, I would have to say 6 tournaments that we've been involved in a pool, we were essentially toast.
Yeah.
On day number 1, man. We were right there in that scene out of the Blues Brothers where, here's, an order of plain white toast coming your way. And that's it. You're toast. You're done. I mean, burnt beyond recognition. It's Toast Patterson. As a couple of your guys are ballooning way up there. Guys that you were counting on. Hey, what is Jordan Spieth doing at +5? You can't even believe it. But if you're in contention, golf is a
Oh, it's great.
tremendous bet.
You get a whole week. You get from Thursday to Sunday.
Yeah.
The numbers you get, even on like favorites, is great.
And a lot of in-game decisions to be made because the odds are generous enough that if you get in, even at the beginning of the tournament with one of the horses that are considered to be the favorites, right?
Yep.
You're in there, with any of the guys that are hot right now. I think what is the guy's name? Is it Casey?
Paul Casey?
Cameron Smith. Is that the guy?
Okay.
The British guy with
He's
like
a
the mullet?
player. I don't know him, but he's a player, yes.
He might be the choice there in the upcoming U.S. Open. Cameron Smith.
There you go.
16-1, Lubie. I was considering that.
Nice.
You'll find that much to your surprise.
It's shocking. Yes, very shocking.
Yeah, that's next week, though. That's going to be the U.S. Open. Phil's going to play, apparently, and the USGA...
Oh, okay, that's the one that'll let you. Yeah, they're not...
usurping... Yeah, the desires of the PGA to ban Phil from ever setting foot in the country again and telling him to go enjoy that sand in the Saudi desert. You turncoat prick. You think that's what that Monahan guy is thinking right now about Phil?
100%, yes.
Phil, Phil outfoxed this guy, though, didn't he? I mean, in terms of the capital. It may be in disgrace. I'm not sure. Phil is, the Teflon Don, is he not? In golf. I mean, think about this. He was still representing a financial company after, being involved in an insider trading deal.
Yes.
Hello? Right? I mean, who else? And he's got, like, what is that, KMPC?
I don't know. That's, yeah, I
Had
don't
it
know.
on his hat, like, for 2 years after that, right? Well, he's under indictment, but no big deal here, Phil.
If you ain't cheating, you're not trying.
I don't find it so unscrupulous. I maybe Andy would be better to talk about this, but if some guy tells you, "Hey, listen, man, this stock is going to go through the roof," I mean, should you go, "Whoa, geez, I can't believe this information came from the inside. I'm not going to buy it." I mean, what are you going to do? I guess we're sort of bailing out on this issue. Is it as bad as having your name all over now the Saudi government's campaign to kind of cleanse its image as being guilty of an annihilation of human rights across the board, on many different levels, including slaughtering a guy and openly saying, "Well, you're saying some bad things about the family." I better not. This is going on in Saudi Arabia here, and I don't mean to condemn. I mean, look, I don't know how I understand how most people would feel about it would be that it was unconscionable of these people to take the money and represent this particular position. And then trying to shrug it off as if they were saying, "Oh, well, it's good for the growth of the game," which who knows? Maybe it will be. Is that possible? Are more people going to play golf because they know they can get freebie money from the Saudis? I don't know.
I don't know. Look, and Andy's like, he'd go the other way. He doesn't trust the tips. If they're giving you a tip, then they're giving a bunch of people the tip. So that means when everyone does it, it'll actually go up. So now you just short it because it
we've known of people who were inclined to recommend a stock that was absolutely worthless, where the company didn't even have a post office box in Indiana.
Exactly.
And, it was trading on the pink sheets at like a half a cent. And they tell everybody it's going to skyrocket. Tomorrow they're announcing that they've aligned themselves with Elon Musk and are going to be a part of every venture that he is involved in the future. And so the thing soars to $1. They sell out. And then it's a dump city, my friend.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you're stuck. Or any tip at the racetrack, for that matter. I mean, speaking of degeneracy. Right? Any tip at the racetrack is usually a throwout. And yet, now, do tips haunt you? I wonder if Mike Mayo suffers from this syndrome.
It feels like he would be someone, yes.
No, I don't think so. I think he would be more cynical as to think, along the lines of whatever this guy thinks, he's an asshole.
Oh, no, that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, if he does take a tip and it goes the other way, I'm sure he'd be the one guy to go, of course, I took the one I took.
Right. Now, do you scratch that guy off your list of people to ever listen to again? Or do you hope that they give you more tips so that you can put a line through them like they did in,
Exactly.
in
Go
Let
the
It
other
Ride?
way.
Richard Dreyfuss,
Go
one of
the
the
other
great
way.
lines in any movie ever. It really was. I mean, just put a line through it, right? As soon as the tout came over there. And that would be a good way to end up betting races. That may be the way that you have to figure out the Belmont Stakes, right? We're going to try and figure that out tomorrow with the lovely Kate
Yes.
Bradar. She's going to join us here on the program. Field of 8 going postward. This could be very similar to Mike Mayo's what appeared to be clairvoyance about the fate of the Florida Panthers in the
Yes.
postseason, although slightly misguided,
Yep.
and to the point where he let his bitterness kind of cloud his vision that he had, which was just absolutely pure monetary gold.
Yeah. You should have held on and bet the Panthers. If you could, we'll see. Can you a series ahead, like the Lightning?
He knew they weren't bad enough to lose to the Capitals, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like, can you bet ahead of time and get better odds that they're going to face the Lightning and then get swept? Like, can you do that?
I would imagine so. With today's wagering being what it is,
Somewhere.
it's just incredible, right? I mean, here's a guy betting his best bet of the night, best bet out of all the things that you could bet, right? If you like the Celtics in the game, as I said, the simplest thing that you could have done is just take the Celtics on the money line. They're going back home. They played very representative. They won the first game. They're right in there for 2/4 of the second game. They finally get blitzed, and they don't recover. That's going to happen occasionally against Golden State, a team of 3-point chuckers, the likes of which we haven't seen since you were playing recreational ball in the park. Correct? I mean, and all of them can do it, right? Even this Porter guy, he didn't look like a 3-point shooter. He makes a key 3-point bucket under pressure in the game last night. Steph Curry is swirling around there doing his thing. Looked great. Although, did he get his leg crushed to the point where it's over, my friends?
Supposedly he got hurt. I stopped when they brought it to 11 in the fourth, and then the Warriors missed a couple of baskets in a row because they were just playing really lazy. With like 6 minutes left, I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm done." Like you can tell that they're mailed it in. And then I saw this morning that he left early, but then he may play. Like I didn't know what the hell.
They took him out a couple of minutes ago, and then Steve Kerr, brilliant at dodging these sort of questions, was like, "No, I took him out because we were trailing by 14."
Yeah, I mean they were.
I don't know, trailing by 14 with 2 minutes to go. Golden State, they had a 7-point possession in the game. Come on, Stevie boy. Tell us the truth. The man was screaming in agony on the bench. Screaming in agony. He looked like Zverev, when he went to the locker room, Steph Curry. Steph Curry, very gracious, though. You can't help but like this kid, huh? I don't know that I'm going to Subway over Las Patas.
No,
I don't think so.
I'm in a Subway in a long time.
Yeah, on Steph Curry's recommendation, because, might run into Serena there as we
There you go, or Brady.
Hey, Tom, where's Giselle and the kids? Oh, they're having the turkey?
Whatever. It was like this Tiger with the Buick commercials. It was like, when has Tiger driven a Buick?
Exactly. But, I mean, a very likable Steph Curry, patiently answering questions that he really didn't feel like answering, and giving everybody, the reporters that were asking these questions, sort of the grace and consideration that would be commensurate with a guy that you can't help but like. And then everybody that's ever fired one from 30, it's an awkward shot he takes also, isn't it? It's not like, you're watching, any of the pure form shooters that you've seen in your lifetime, right? It's not Ray Allen out there.
I was going to say, it's not Ray Ray. It's not horrible. It's not like Marion, but it's not Ray Ray. It's very weird. It's very quick release. It's the idea is to just get it out.
And from a low point, I remember the guy that used to shoot from the hip, so to speak?
Which I never got.
Not to get into the Second Amendment again, but yeah. But he flicks it up from kind of a low spot, doesn't he?
Yes, it's a weird three that he obviously formed because he was always small and he had to get the ball over the bigger dude. So he brings it low when they're not ready for him to shoot it, and they shoot it fast, and it has a high arc. I don't know. I can't get used to just jacking up threes, and the Warriors. I forget because they haven't been good for the last couple of years. I forget that they literally just throw threes up. For 90% of the
what
game.
would Steve Kerr's philosophy be, would you think? Since he stood out at the three-point stripe for two different teams, completely unguarded, and canned a zillion threes, a very effective player in that role at a time where it was really first emerging, and where every team that was a successful team, no matter how much talent they had on the roster, still had to rely on that one guy, right? The Jim Paxsons of the universe, right? How many times did he bail out Michael Jordan? in his career with the Bulls. Hodges later on became that 3-point designated shooter for the Bulls. They had another guy too in that run. That was very good. Oh, Steve Kerr, right?
It was Hodges, then John Paxson, then Kerr.
Yeah.
Was like the order, and they crossed over.
Who was the best of them? Who was the best of them? Paxson or Kerr?
I say Kerr because I think he hit, like Paxson hit the one big one that we know. I think Kerr did it multiple times, and then he did it with the Spurs too. Like Kerr went on to the Spurs and did the same thing. Was there like bailout 3-point guy?
Admiral's throwing a ball out to the 3-point stripe there, and there's Steve Kerr. Hey, guess what? He's all alone. Anyway, I mean, if Mayo hadn't clouded his clairvoyance, and been so bitter about the Florida Panthers and his dispute with the Panther executive, he would have realized that what he really needed to pull the trigger on was the sweep by the Lightning.
Yes,
because he saw the failure. He saw that this team was going to do a pratfall.
Yep.
And that's the kind of thing that you need. You need those kind of instincts, but then you have to be able to react to them.
Yep.
And you can't be one of those people that, because you got a tip from somebody else is going to let your opinion be influenced. I know this from experience because
I was going to say
I am the most guilty of this.
You.
I should be doing time for the number of blown opportunities, with the mind bets that you didn't make, and then going ahead and actually plunging down some money on something. But
disasters.
Cameron Smith, you mark my words here, wins the U.S. Open at 16-1, my friend. If he's the guy I'm thinking of, which I believe he is, with the silly looking mullet, and he's like from England, but he looks like a hillbilly. Have you seen this guy? He's real good. He's red hot right now. I think he's hotter than Scotty Scheffler had his run, but you know how this goes on the golf tour. That's why if you could bank $120,000 for finishing last in a 48-man field, could you forget about I hate to say it.
So he is the mullet guy, but he's Aussie. He's from Australia.
Oh, Australia. Okay, yeah. But doesn't he look like he's from Gainesville?
Yeah, so no, he looks like he's a Gator. Or like
he should be at a Gator pep rally somewhere, drinking moonshine out of
Mississippi State.
An impromptu still that sprang up out of a Winnebago. All right, we're gonna come back with more. Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, man. Wow, that sounds like a great thing for the weekend. What's the weekend gonna be like? It's been kind of rain soaked.
Raining every day, so I'm hoping that means this weekend will be great.
Okay, yeah. I told you I got caught up in that thing on a walk of life, and what did I do? I turned it into a Budweiser and a martini.
There you go.
And a chicken Caesar salad there, courtesy of the lovely cat there at Stingers. The Mustang. Actually, how about this one? Did something happen? Was a spark germinated and generated on our trip to Italy where Mustang became concerned that I was out on my walk of life, and the rain all of a sudden encompassed the area with lightning striking right in the area. I mean, like giant lightning bolts. I guess there are no small ones, right?
Yeah, lightning is lightning.
And then we're on the outskirts of this thing, and I rarely would I stop. I mean, I don't care about the rain, right? You're going to get wet, so what?
As long as it's not like bad, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a blinding, pounding rainstorm, it's kind of annoying if you still have like a mile and a half to go. So I actually happened to be right by Stingers, so I decided to pack it in. But the Mustang had already gotten in the car and was going to come and get me.
Find you. Good for you.
Caught up in this storm, because when I left, it was fine outside.
That's nice. Shirley would definitely never do that.
No,
no way. Are you kidding me?
She took my car though, which has no gas in it.
Oh, of course.
Because I'm waiting for the price to come down.
Oh, good for you. You must have to drive places, so we can't do that. I love that you drive so little that you can wait.
I'm hoping the economy shifts by the time I have to buy gas again, but I've got like an eighth of a tank.
In the next week, there you go.
When the range thing comes up, it says, fill it up already, you moron. It doesn't even have like a number anymore attached to it.
It ain't coming down.
Yeah. But I did appreciate that. I mean, the Mustang, I think this was a spark of new love. I mean, to go out on the road in the rain with a car that was lacking in fuel, with the sole purpose of saving me and rescuing me from maybe being struck by lightning. I'm overwhelmed. I really am. The trip to Italy was worth every of the one of the 12
10 grand.
Yeah. I couldn't have won on Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, going to Italy. Yeah, thanks, Pat. And you know what? Say hello to Vanna while I'm on my way out the door.
Oh my God.
All right, we're going to come back with more here on the Defo Show. Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill will be a great place to go, though,
Yes.
wouldn't it? Lubie, I
The
mean,
weather's supposed to
wow.
be hit or miss, so that's perfect. Jimmy Johnson's, whether it's sun or rain, it's a great time. So you're good.
Still a good time, yeah. I mean, and they have the sports bar there. You got an opportunity to watch. I'm assuming what you still have a couple of more games at least in the hockey series. Rangers still in battle at 2-2 with the Tampa Bay Lightning. Who do you like in that game tonight? By the way, Lubie.
I'll cross my fingers for the Rangers. I've actually started to grow a hatred for the Lightning, like the Tampa fan. Is
No,
sort of
not
like
a
the Boston
respect.
fan.
I mean, not a healthy respect.
The Tampa fan has become really annoying. Like because they have winners in all the sports.
Yeah.
They're like loudmouths now, and it's really annoying to me.
They were schmanks anyway. I mean, I like the people from Tampa, but
Might be good humans.
it's like a
Fans are
schmanky
annoying.
town by comparison here.
Yes, and
Right?
they've
You got
sucked
a couple of
forever
things.
until the last like 5 years, and now they're winning and everything, and it's like it's just annoying. I don't want to hear it
Is
anymore.
Busch Gardens still like the big
Yeah, it's a
attraction
big-
there? Yeah,
Yeah.
Still
there,
open.
and it's better. Yeah, Busch
All
Gardens
right.
is great. Especially if you like roller coasters.
there you have it. I mean, as Gordon Soley would say, you have a bunch of bumpkins out there that are sucking down cans of Busch beer. There's your, there's your description of Tampa from a tourist standpoint. No, I mean their fans are okay though. I worked over there quite a bit in my youth, and I really enjoyed the people there, and they're good sports fans, and they deserve this success because their teams are doing it with ingenuity, Lubie. They're not just out there, trying to sell the public that every move they made is brilliant when it's going to be just a flat out failure.
I agree.
It's it's one of those deals where they've done it all on ingenuity, including making Joe Madden a big star as a manager before he later went on and distinguished himself by losing 28 in a row with the Angels. No, I like Joe Madden. He's a good guy. He's a good ambassador for the game. I like this guy. All right, we're coming back with more. Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. Check it out. Mile marker 104, the overseas highway. Great food and drink all the time. Whether you're looking for something casual, whether you're looking for just an innovatively made and delicious pizza, or high-end stuff. I mean, some of the best seafood you're going to find anywhere in the Keys, right there at Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, mile marker 104, the overseas highway in Key Largo. I'm Jeff Deforrest. He's Mike Lubitz, and we're back with more in a moment. Now that
The time.
it's 8:26.
Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. You're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. Good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched. Steaks hand cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Any time of year, things can happen to your home or business, and the insurance company can be your friend, but they also can be your enemy. Horizon Public Adjusters, Justina Testa, are here for you to help this process go so much easier. 7 to 10 times more money recovered with a public adjuster than if you went on your own. If there's no recovery, there's no fee. Before you call your insurance company, call Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa at 954-809-8752.
Robert Klein, a pleasure. Huge fans and been bombarded with messages and texts attesting to your brilliance and how much they have enjoyed your work over the years, and still outstanding. Thanks so much. I don't know if you have 1 second real quick.
Yeah.
The Bronx Olympics would look like what? I called a friend of mine and I asked him if he was watching the fencing, and he said he thought that involved moving stolen merchandise. But the Bronx Olympics, so what would be the number one event?
The number one event would be the shout. Who could shout, yo, hey, yo!
The only way to get your morning started is with Defo, joined by Lubie, right here on The Defo Show.
Very enjoyable time we had with Robert Klein that time he joined us on the
Yes, son.
program here. One of the brilliant comedic minds who's been able to sustain. Wow, you talk about longevity and still being very funny. Robert Klein, very innovative stand-up comic. Goes all the way back to like the Ed Sullivan Show, this guy, huh? Here's Robert Klein. You missed out on that. You would have loved that.
Yes, I
it's
really
one of
did.
the all-time great variety shows. All right, welcome back to the program. Good to be with you. I had a debatable, a hot sports topic type of survey question, Lubie. And then I also have a question I'll throw out there for the Hialeah Park Trivia players for the gift certificate. And that would be, and there are no choices on this one. You just have to know the answer, okay? And this guy just recently lost in a title unification bout for like all four bantamweight boxing belts. WBA, WBC, International Bribery Federation, and the World Boxing Organization, if you will. All right, and there was a guy, his first name escapes me, but his last name is Anui, and he's a Japanese kid, a knockout artist, and he knocked out my man Nonito Donaire, who I always liked as a boxer, and Donaire was still very alive as a boxer in his 40s now. The question would be this: Nonito Donaire, who would be, if it wasn't for Manny Pacquiao, he'd probably be the number one Filipino boxer. I don't know, of all time. Is that possible?
Oh,
If it wasn't for Pacquiao, Nonito Donaire from the Philippines also, and very accomplished. Won a bunch of different titles, and it was still a title holder here in his 40s. Had won the championship in a pretty tough series of bouts. He defended, I think, once. Anyway, he gets knocked out by this guy, but he says much of the transition and his ability to compete to this stage was due to what former disgraced sports figure? All right. How about that? What former disgraced sports figure? And I'll give you a hint. The guy wasn't an athlete, but he was a well-known sports figure involved in some of the most infamous stuff that was ever reported on in the history of the sporting world. Who was it that Nonito Donaire attributed his long-term success to when he got involved with treatments with this particular guy? How's that for a question, Louie? No
Is
idea.
that your guy? Is that your guy? What the hell?
You don't want to answer the question, though. We're going to throw that out there.
I don't know. I actually don't know.
If anybody wants to venture a guess here, which I would imagine there'd be few, which is kind of why I threw out a ridiculous question. No. That's why we need gurgles, man. There's no doubt about it.
Man.
But I thought of this guy recently because when I saw Donaire getting knocked out, I watched a little replay of this thing, and it took place at an oddball time. Is Japan like 2 days away from the rest of the world in terms of time? Because this sort of came across this news on like Monday night.
I think it's 12 hours.
Why are they fighting on a Monday night? It's probably like Saturday in Japan. At that
13, they're 13 hours ahead. It's 9:30 at night right now in Japan.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, I don't know how that equates out mathematically, but nonetheless, it was an oddball time that this result was announced. There's a guy that's been in Nonito Donaire's corner, who was involved in one of the most infamous ever episodes in the history of sports. Who was that man? Is the question, and the number is what? 954-417-0070. Correct, Lubie?
Yes, that is the number. Let me get it up here for you.
954-417-0070.
Yes, sir.
All right, and whoever comes up with the name here gets the Landlubbers gift certificate, or just the personal pride of knowing that you answered an impossible question. It's not impossible. I mean, I think the answer is fairly obvious, believe it or not. Mike Lubitz, but maybe that's because I know what it is. So I made up this stupid question myself. All right, topical sports debate. That's what you wanted us to go towards on the show, Lubie. More contemporary topical conversations, correct?
Like 10 years ago. I gave up on that like in 2011. Sure.
Narrative lists and things of this nature. All right, so we go to football, Lubie, and this is one I looked at today on CBS Sportsline, all right? And they were ranking the top quarterbacks in order in the AFC, a quarterback-loaded conference right now. All right? So they have it number one, Patrick Mahomes. Still number one in your opinion? Patrick Mahomes.
Yes.
Number two, they have Josh Allen. Josh Allen, Buffalo Bills, certainly a coming star if he isn't one already. look to be capable of taking the Bills to the Super Bowl. Maybe they're one of those teams that ascended to near the top, and now they're ready to make the big move. A lot of people like the Bills this year to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. You could probably get what? Can you get 5 or 6 to 1 on that?
I don't know.
Right now,
People are really
like
a lot of
Lubitz?
people are higher on them than the Chiefs. A lot of people have them as their favorite.
Justin Herbert comes in at number 3. Justin
Yeah.
Herbert, certainly not impossible to envision. Now,
I think people are
you see
higher
where
on
this-
him, but I mean that's not where I
you
would.
see where this is going, though, from a local standpoint.
Totally
in
get where
South
you're
Florida.
going with it. I think I'm curious for this year. I think this year's going to be a lot of fun if you're Tua and you're a Dolphin fan. So I think Justin Herbert's gotten a lot of attention
Well,
for statistics he put up. But go on, go right ahead. So
Well,
they
hold
have
on,
Herbert
because
three.
we'll probably finish the show before I get to Tua on this list.
To aim for.
All right, and this is
Tua won't
a
be in the
list
top
of
10.
ranking the top quarterbacks in the AFC that was compiled by CBS Sportsline.
Mm-hmm.
They have Russell Wilson with the Denver Broncos now, and he is in there at number 4, and certainly conceivable that he would be the top, in the top 5
I'd have him
quarterbacks in
three,
the
but
AFC.
Go on. Yeah, go
Joe
on.
Burrow, young Joe Burrow, who acquitted
I'd have him
himself
at
so
4.
well last year. I mean, just absolutely fantastic. They have Lamar Jackson, Baltimore Ravens,
At 6
come
is
see, come
fine.
sigh, but certainly worthy of
6.
consideration in that spot. Deshaun Watson, we don't know
I don't know
what
what
he's
to do
going
with
to
him.
do.
And every day it's another woman coming out, so we may never see him again.
Yeah, what is it now? I mean,
was
what
the
did he do? He
24th or
booked like
25th woman.
66 different. I mean, everybody had their move, huh? Now, I'm not saying that he did any of this and that it wasn't consensual if he did, because he didn't deny that, he never said, like, hey, nothing happened here. He just
He said
claimed that
consensual.
whatever was involved was consensual, which is it's entirely possible. I
Just
mean,
go to an
you-
Asian spa and get a happy end. Like there are places that do this. They're willing to do it. They're cool with it. Like, why
Yeah.
do you have to get cute? Like, I don't like these guys. It's such a power move. It has nothing to do with sex
Yeah.
because there's plenty of places. Or go to Vegas. There's plenty of places where you can.
This was his thing, though. Remember when Tiger had
Yes,
this thing
that's the
where,
thing.
where he was dressing in a business suit or something with no pants on, and he was getting, oral sex from various waitresses and hookers.
waitresses.
I mean,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, come on.
He's
People
Tiger,
have all kinds of strange sexual, affinities, and
I get it, but proclivities.
this might have been his thing. I mean, to see if he
Not
could
might have
get-
been. That's clearly his thing. Like he'd go on Instagram, get a random girl that was a masseuse come.
She's
do some
already
crazy
giving
shit,
him
and
a
get new one.
massage in sensitive areas, right?
Yes.
All of a sudden,
He would like get in a position.
Remember
like,
those days where it was like an erector set, Lubie?
Yeah.
You might still be involved in some of that.
those days.
An erector set, man. It was just.
I like that. Yes.
Okay, now we're getting way out of bounds with what we
You are.
wanted to have. Considering that we were looking at a list of quarterbacks and trying to figure when we were going to get to Tua Tagovailoa.
So he's probably like 16. All right. So Deshaun Watson at 70, and though we probably won't see him for the next 2 years.
Deshaun Watson. Okay, yeah, but that is a strange story, though. I mean, is it not?
Well, he just
and only-
he and his lawyer are so obnoxious that the women that
Is that
weren't
that
gonna
Rusty
come out-
Harden guy?
It is
Rusty Harden the
100%
mouthpiece?
Rusty
Yeah.
Harden,
Okay,
and they're both victim blaming. And the victims are like, "All right, if you want to be that loud, we were trying to let you go, let it go. Screw you." So every day it's a new because Harden's being defiant and being a jerk, and Deshaun Watson's being defiant and being a jerk, and that's fine. They're just pissing off the women, and the women are coming out of the woodwork every day.
All right, what's Raj got to say about any of this at this point? I don't know nothing. He went Colonel, what was that? Colonel Klink?
Yes.
I know nothing. Okay, they have Derek Carr in behind Watson. You'll love this one. Who do you think is number 9 on this list, my friend? This is of the 16 starting quarterbacks slated to go to the post in the
Tannehill?
AFC this year.
'Cause
Ryan
even
Tannehill.
though
Good
he's
one.
not good, they still want to pretend like he's good. And this year he'll really fall off a cliff because they got rid of his best receiver, AJ Brown.
Okay, so we're 9 deep in this thing, and we have no mention of when Tua Tagovailoa,
he'll
the
be
man
like
who's going to
15.
spark this dynamic Mike McDaniel offense, and not necessarily getting any kind of high regard or respect from whoever put this list together. But I mean, it's hard to argue that he fits in above any of these guys, is it not?
I put him.
I
way
mean,
ahead of
maybe
Tannehill.
only Watson because he might not play.
I'd
But
put
you
him ahead
can't
of
really
Tannehill,
consider
but he
that.
dropped
I
him
mean,
a
this
lot.
is just a list speculating as to what's on paper. All right, so Matt Ryan now over from the Atlanta Falcons is with the Colts,
Mhm.
and he's in at number 10. I think that's believable. Mac Jones, certainly looked like he had far more potential than Tua Tagovailoa in year number one. You don't agree with that? Just
The
'cause you
last
hate
quarter of
the
the year, he
Patriots?
was horrendous. When they started playing better defense, he was an average to bad quarterback. Like, whatever. They have this because he's a white guy in New England, so they have to make him better than he is. He's not a good quarterback.
So
He's
you
a
say
career
this
backup.
is based on racism? Nice.
I'm
Okay.
saying
Nice
that
accusation
they
and
do a
assertion
weird
there,
thing with
Louis.
Mac Jones. He's a white guy in New England, so they make him a good quarterback. He's not a good quarterback. The last quarter of the year, he wasn't.
I think he's good. I don't know. I
I
saw
know
the
you do.
first
He's
half of the
accurate
season.
guy.
Yeah.
Woohoo! If you look at him, the last quarter of the year, they stopped talking about Mac Jones because he was average to bad.
All right. Well, Belichick will get to the bottom of that.
Yes, he's going to make him amazing.
And Andy implies that Tua is behind Richard Todd.
I mean, he probably
on
will
this
be.
list.
Yes.
All right. You have Trevor Lawrence at number
horrendous.
12. Trevor Lawrence with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I would put him ahead of Tua. Outside of if we look at how he was in the NFL, and he definitely had a way worse rookie year than Tua did, but sure, keep going.
Okay, so
They're all better than
Tua comes in at number 13.
There you go.
Which leads you to the magic question, like they talk about in boxing sometimes. Well, who did he beat? Or college football. Well, who did they beat?
Yeah.
Or any sport for that matter. Well, who did they beat so far? They're picking up on the dregs and the schminks, the bag ladies of the universe. So he's only ahead of Pickett, the rookie, Pittsburgh Steelers,
never played
Pennsylvania
ever.
beat a starter.
Yep.
Zach Wilson with the
Who
New
everyone
York
hates.
Jets, who has looked horrible so far. And
Yes.
and is it Davis Mills?
Yes, who was a second or third round pick who is only starting because the Texans are full on tank.
Those are the only three guys that they
Yes.
have placed Tua Tagovailoa ahead of, and you would have to say it's not easy to argue with that list. Is he ahead of Trevor Lawrence at this stage of his career?
Yes.
Tua
I
Tagovailoa.
would put him at 8 on that list.
You would
put him
rather
ahead of-
start Tua than Trevor Lawrence, right?
Yes, Trevor Lawrence was a pig machine. It's not his fault, and I think he'll eventually be fine. But you have they're picking
Two
and
words
choosing.
there before you get going. Urban Meyer
100% Urban Meyer, and I think Trevor Lawrence will eventually be a good quarterback.
couldn't coach a
But he's
donkey
not
need
now.
at the pro level. Unbelievable.
I don't know what they're going off of. Are you going off of what we've seen? Because that's what you're blaming Tua for. You're not using his potential. You're using what we've seen. Or are you going off of potential? Pick. Because Lawrence is not what we've seen.
Who else would you put him ahead of, though?
I'd put him ahead of Ryan, who's in his 60s.
Against
I'd put him ahead of
Matt
Ryan
You
Tannehill.
put Tua, an accomplished
Yes, Tua's numbers were solid,
quarterback.
and he had Matt Ryan had a monster tight end, and he was on a team that was supposed to be at least decent offensively, and he put up nice numbers, and he's old as hell. Whatever.
You know what's great about you? Because I knew you would love this topical sports material,
stupid.
and that you would fall just face first for it. I mean,
Of course, you know I'd fall for
who
this.
the hell knows? I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking this honestly. The whole Tua thing, it really has been capsulized now, and we'll all be right in front of everybody this season.
Yeah, this year's everything.
All right.
That's fine.
And it's fair to make. I mean, if you were in reserve of judgment as to whether or not this guy was going to make it, or whether he was better than Justin Herbert, or did the Dolphins make an organizational and monumental blunder in taking Tua over Justin Herbert, who was picked one pick after him, and looks to be the prototypical NFL quarterback, whereas Tua is running around and he's all left. Does anything happen to the right? Nothing. Zero. Okay, nothing. He's a left-hander. Okay, logically, if he's going to be using lateral movement to try and dodge getting sacked every other down, he's rolling left. So, you now have an option, though, where, I mean, when you can throw some little stupid Joe Cap-like pass and drop it into the hands of Tyreek Hill, and then, on the other side, you have a guy of similar ability that in Waddle that's, I mean, that guy, wow, what a season he had. Think about that. You had a team that was 1-7, and this guy was shining.
Mm-hmm.
And then as the team progressed and won 8 of their last 9 games, Waddle was really the impetus behind that, was he not? Or a major force. And then it was interesting, because we were talking about, the Dolphins defense all of a sudden with Mike Westhoff yesterday. And he really believes that they have a hell of a defense. So, yeah. Maybe they'll quit themselves, and that would take a lot of pressure off of Tua also, because he wouldn't be in situations where the other team is, naturally just going to tee off on the fact that the only place he can go is to his left. It's not like Fran Tarkenton out there, too. And that reverse move, the reverse Cochise spin move,
Yeah.
that never works, right? You always end up getting like a 50-yard sack.
Exactly. You lose 30.
This McDaniel guy, though, really intrigues me from a coaching standpoint as an NFL coach, because we've seen where this type of coach now is much more in vogue than the old hard-ass, okay, we're going to be running gassers till we get it right.
Yep.
I don't know.
Well, it's just there's so much money in it for the players, and the players have enough power now where it's hard to be that guy. You could get away with being that guy because you had all the power. In college, they still do it to a certain extent. I think the NIL is going to change that too, where the Nick Sabans of the world and are just like, well, screw you. Okay, you're allowed to transfer anywhere, and everyone has money. Okay, be the hard ass. So, but college, you could still do it the last few years. NFL, there's so much money, and these guys get paid so much. Trevor Lawrence just ran Urban Meyer out of town. Outside of Urban Meyer was a total raving lunatic, but like if you're picking between the guys, you're picking Trevor Lawrence every time. Like it's just a different world now. The coach doesn't have that much power.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, if you look at Urban Meyer, the guy was just what a complete lunatic he turned out to be.
Well, we've done that for a while.
My God,
I knew.
How did they ever feature him on TV as a personality? Also,
he's supposed to be coming back.
Most bizarre things. Here is a guy completely vapid and devoid of any personality whatsoever. Has the credibility level of, Whitey Bulger was more credible than this guy when he was working for the feds. Come on. And this guy's teaching honor and integrity, and then he's on TV as an analyst, and you're supposed to sit there and be fascinated. I find Nick Saban pretty smarmy, but he's more interesting than Urban, that's for sure.
Yeah,
as an analyst.
Yes.
Urban Meyer was he saying something? It's possible. See, now we're so used to the flamboyant color analyst, where the guy's jumping up and down and screaming and using charts and telestrators and all this stuff. That maybe if a guy was just giving it to you straight, like this guy Jim Spanarkel supposedly does on color analysis on basketball, college basketball, and people. He works with Ian Eagle, our good friend, on occasion, but for some reason it's kind of shuffled into the background because he doesn't have a Dr. J-like flamboyance to everything that he does. All right, so is it possible that Urban Meyer is saying some things that are just so intellectually stimulating and so on the money in terms of his analysis that we miss it because he's not demonstrative about it, or is he just?
Nah, he sucks.
To me, like the most boring guy that ever was on TV.
He, first of all, has shown, even well before his Jacksonville days, to not have any character at all. But he always talks about character. That's what's amazing about him. He's always talking about character and, all the old school crap when he's the guy that had the most criminals on a team ever. Yeah. So it was always fun that he would do that. And then on top of that, he said nothing. Like, Urban Meyer's not good. Nick Saban, I can't stand the guy.
Be all right.
He's a good analyst. Well, when he analyzes games,
a little generic for me. Yeah.
He's actually pretty good as an analyst. So, I can admit when a guy's good as an analyst. Urban Meyer sucks. Like, he's just really bad. He has no personality. Like, that's the whole point.
No, he looks like a stiff, and you know about all the ugliness that he was a part of in his coaching career, including this most recent series of episodes, including, did we give him a free pass on the twerking incident?
No, he did another 3 things after that. So
it's like another woman, right? He's giving you this whole sanctimonious garbage like he was Tiger Woods about how loyal he is and faithful to his wife, and he's like twerking out there at some bar in Ohio with like a known, town floozy.
Yep. Honestly.
I don't know if she was a known town floozy. What was she, a soccer mom? I'm not exactly sure what the woman was all about, but it was like, Cashman with Lisa Meanwell. We forget about the fact that he was cheating on his wife, because, the woman turned out to be so bizarre that you had to be sympathetic.
You felt bad from this. She was a raving lunatic.
A lunatic. Same thing happened, with our good friend Rick Pitino, right? Woman was a lunatic. Rick, what were you thinking? I guess, that there we go again with sexual quirks. And people approach it from a whole different angle. I don't know how we got into that whole thing before, but whatever it is, there's a tie-in. All right, we're coming back with more. We'll take you up until 9 o'clock here on the East Coast. Nice to see all of the conversation here on the chat line. Always great. Tua, not highly regarded, 13 out of 16.
Well, that's fine. I think it's great. I think this year will be a lot of fun for Tua. And I can't wait to see what to do with him.
Talk about disrespect.
I can't wait to see what they do with him. The first 6 or 7, fine. You want to say the first 8, fine. He's better than Mac Jones. At this point, he's better than Trevor Lawrence. He's better than, you said a couple other names Ryan Tannehill at this point. Ryan Tannehill showed it last year when his guys were hurt and Derrick Henry was hurt and he played with what Tua was playing with. He sucked. Like, I don't know why.
Yeah,
people
and then
guys,
atrocious.
Yeah,
we go Segredo on that. The moment of truth. I mean,
Tua had that one game with 3 interceptions. This dude, and Tua was only in the second year. Ryan Tannehill was in like his 12th year. They wanted to make him an MVP candidate, and the dude in a playoff game had like 4 interceptions, and they were horrible interceptions.
Yeah, he looked like year number 1 there with Adam Gase, where you were thinking Gase is either going to blow his brains out or his eyeballs are going to pop out of his head. Who knew he looked so weird until he took off his hat at that first Jet press conference?
And with the eyes.
No one had any idea, right?
Eyes
he looked
were
like a normal
scary.
guy, right? You're thinking, hey, Adam Gase, good-looking young guy, right? Then he takes the hat off and starts popping those Marty Feldman eyeballs. And you're asking yourself, what form of fentanyl is affecting this man in this fashion? And you're introducing him. Only the New York Jets would continue to introduce this man as their new head coach.
It's funny because I went to college in
The
the era when
Dolphins fired him. The Dolphins fired this guy.
I got rid of him, man. And they don't do that. I went to the era like there was a time, and now they probably moved on to other drugs, but like Adderall became a thing that I never did this, but people would use it even though they didn't have a prescription to like study a lot. But you could tell when they were adding because like their eyes, like their focus.
He did. He looked like he was gargling with this stuff.
Gase had that exact look where he was just like scary.
All right, don't forget about, Jack's got this thing going on, man, and we talked about Robbie Seller, just a stellar reputation. This is going to be a classy presentation at the Versace Mansion. It's called The Unveiling, and you can get tickets and information. It's going to be just a great, great concert, all to benefit Ukrainian refugees, and these are people that, wow, I mean, it was gut-wrenching watching this testimony, which unfortunately was falling on deaf ears in Congress from all of these people that have been victimized directly by these mass shootings. I mean, how could you not have your heart just absolutely destroyed there listening to these stories? Incredible. The Ukrainian thing is no bargain. I mean, wow. Devastating to watch the news and then see some of the stories. And Scott Pelley's been doing a good job with this. Some of the other reporting, even on other networks, that you wouldn't think would be able to penetrate to this level. Just unbelievable, the stories that they're bringing out of it. And it really is. It's heart-wrenching. If you don't have, a soft spot for, contributing to this cause, well, then you don't have a soft spot.
That sucks. Yeah.
So check it out, The Unveiling, and that's at the Versace Mansion. And it's going to be a VIP masquerade gala party with a concert and the whole thing. Robbie Seller is involved, and you know what that means, people in the entertainment industry. It's going to be first class. So check it out, The Unveiling. And you can just Google that and get all the information, get your tickets there, and get your... Now, is it like costume, a masquerade party, or is that like just involve masks and stuff? What do you think?
I think it's a mask. Masquerades usually like you dress nice.
So you don't come dressed as one of the Blues Brothers?
No, it's like a ball. Like usually it's a really nice event that you'll dress nice, but then you'll like wear the really cool mask over your face to like sort of hide who you are.
So me coming as Belushi wouldn't be appropriate.
You could probably do it. Your Defo, you sort of get away with it.
Hey, you don't want to look like an ass,
I would.
This is a first-class event. We're talking about the Versace Mansion, for God's sake.
Exactly.
All right, check that out at The Unveiling. All right, we're coming back. We'll wrap things up in just a moment here. Glad you guys are with us. And I want to say hello to all the people on the chat line. You're always welcome to participate there. Now, Lubie's kind of firing up the answers for us because... you
should be able to answer. I don't know how
I don't know how to do it, man. And I don't want to touch anything because the show's working. Yeah. I got scared the other day. I was seeing nothing but tone bars, from the camera shot. And then I realized I had forgotten to turn on the camera.
That helps.
Which is a key. And I'm going to get my all-natural lighting back, I think, today via Amazon.
Wonderful.
$15 piece was enough to fix the whole situation.
Nice.
All right, we're coming back with more in a moment here on the Defo Show. Jeff Deforrest, Mike Lubitz, having a lot of fun today. And back with more tomorrow. Degenerate Friday, Kate and Brader on the Belmont Stakes. The Professor with the big board. Mike
you definitely took advantage of you not being here the last 2 weeks.
Oh, no. Brady?
It wasn't a Brady. It was just last week because the Top Gun movie came out 2 weekends ago and was a huge deal. And we've talked about this over the years, how if you've watched the original Top Gun, and I didn't need the professor to point this out to me. It's very homoerotic. Like, I mean, you know, they did some things that I never did growing up when it came to male bonding. And Ken's always talked about this. So like, the new one came out, and it's not as homoerotic, but they still delve into that world a little bit.
Yeah.
So Ken last week did why Top Gun is the most homoerotic movie ever. So,
it must have been. Well, we're still in the air. We're still in the air. You know, it's kind of like we take our dogs to a place where they take very good care of them. You know, and the lady's very lovely, and so is her husband. They got a great situation for dogs, but they have a lot of dogs there. And our hope is, whenever we go on a vacation, we have to board the dogs. Is that you know, just keep them alive. You know.
Yes, that's usually the goal.
And that was the thing, you know, with trusting you with the show and having the professor with. I don't try to restrict the professor from doing anything.
No. It's not like he did something you wouldn't have been around for.
You know, the Nazi material, I think is
There's no Nazi.
No grounds I really want to cover here on the show.
He didn't touch on Nazis, and he didn't do anything that wasn't in the movie. Everything he just showed snapshots of the movie and this thing that's in the movie, and he would just say, I mean, come on.
Yeah. Okay. He's great, man. All right, we'll have the professor tomorrow. The Gambling Gourmet, Mike Mayo, who was at Costa's this week, and he'll be at some Caribbean joint today. I'm not sure exactly
Donna's.
where.
We're going to Donna's in Margate. There's a bunch of them around South Florida.
Right.
It's like a mom and pop place that went big. And it's Caribbean.
I'm a big fan of Nikki Mohan. I can't believe we have her on that show. Yeah, that's great.
I'm a huge fan of her.
She's you know, just a great, gracious, and very, very polished. When she was doing the news on Channel 10, she was among my favorites, really. So I'm so glad that she's going to be a part of that Odyssey Radio app, 12 o'clock today. You can catch Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. All right, and we'll have Mike on the show tomorrow. He might be ruined tomorrow if the Rangers lose.
The Rangers lose. It said it'll be pretty rough because that's one team he's still like a fan of. Like he the way he talks about them and roots them on, it's not as bitter media guy or longtime media guy. Like it's childhood roots fandom.
All right. We're getting questioned as to what type of mask we should wear to this party. I would think a ski mask would probably be appropriate. All right. Back in a moment. Now that. It's 8:55. So. Poker is your game. You're covered in style. And you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Catholic Health Services is committed to care that changes as your needs do. Our full continuum of services is designed to be there throughout your care journey. If you need assistance with daily living, post-acute care following a serious health event, or additional medical care at home, we also offer skilled nursing and palliative and hospice care. Your care needs may change, but our commitment never does. Catholic Health Services, South Florida's #1 choice for post-acute and end-of-life care. Visit CatholicHealthServices.org.
The lovely Debbie Boone joins us here. The song You Light Up My Life. And it's one of those songs that, well, at least for some period of time, I think in virtually every human being, no matter what language they speak, that it was in their head for a period of time. To the point where everybody walked around with that You Light Up My Life on their mind, right? Which has to be a sensational tribute and distinction for anybody that's in the music business.
Well, for the most part, yes. And I am very, very grateful. But a few people did want to break that vinyl over my head.
Here's your record, Debbie. I'm using it as a Frisbee. What are you talking about?
Buenos dias. The cafecito is piping hot. Why not enjoy it with Defo and Lubie? It's now time for the Defo Show.
All right, welcome back to the show here. Had a great time being with you all morning long. I don't know if we accomplished anything, Lubie. That's not necessarily our intent.
It's never our goal.
Some shows are here to educate. Some shows are here to stimulate. And we are just here trying to make a buck.
Laugh. Laugh.
We want to have a good time, man. Get your morning off to a good start. Hopefully, we were able to do some of that here today, and that would be a sense of accomplishment for us, much like we were talking about with Debbie Boone. I love the fact that she immediately shrugged off that nonsensical garbage butter-up job that I was doing there, and said, "You know what? People wanted to kill me, Deforrest," which is a feeling I'm, quite familiar with. People wanting to just do you in. All right, Tua, no better than 13. So that was our topical sports tribute for the day.
You did it. Good job.
I thought that went well because you took the bait.
You got me all in.
You were angry as a fan.
Yelling. I was like Mad Dog.
And you know better than 13th.
Yelling about
That's an outright disgrace. You were. You went Jim Mad Dog Manning to Chris Russo. Yeah.
That means nothing.
Yeah, I don't know that anybody could argue with any of these names here. I mean, Matt Ryan, he might be 6 years old. He's still better than Tua right now. I mean,
I don't know. We'll see if you behind that line.
As of now, on paper, that's all. Right? The minute Tua throws his fifth touchdown pass in the opening game to Tyreek Hill.
Exactly.
And Waddle has 3, and they put up a record number of points here, not even eclipsed by the great Dan Marino. And all of a sudden, the offense looks like we're in the O'Brien-Marino shootout every week, but our defense is stellar and stout, and it's shutting people out. We're winning like, one of those 1926 Chicago Bears teams, right? 82-0 here, and I tell you what, some of the fans are starting to make their way to the exits. It's like 2 degrees in Chicago. They're still sitting around watching this bludgeoning. Will that be the story here with a rejuvenated Tua Tagovailoa career?
Yes, it will. But I'm glad that they're still being very negative. Go and be negative, everyone, and disregard reality.
I will say this. I mean, the modest total that they have there at 8.5, is that still a number on the Dolphins' anticipated win total for
the Greek year? I did this with the Greek when he joined me Monday, and he was seeing 9.5, and he still would have gone over. But I looked it up, and 8.5's what I saw everywhere. So I don't.
It's a 17-game season. That's
they won 9
last
year.
A modest number. I mean, for a team that supposedly has all this great personnel, that's a kind of a modest number in a 16-game season.
Yes.
So you would incline. I mean, if they don't win 10 games this year, that would be a disgrace for the way they went all in. Johnny Chan on getting players that can play for them and perform for them now at the highest level. Yep. Traded a whole draft, right? I mean, it was Ricky Williams all over again. There's Mike Ditka. Hey, who's dumb enough to trade the whole draft? Mike Ditka. I'll do it. And then Ricky wasn't all that great when he was with New Orleans, although he was fine. But, he wasn't anything like he was when Dave Wansack gave him the ball 500 times that one year and broke his back forever. All right, well, we have to run. Speaking of breaking our backs, we're trying to, break our way out of here, literally, like those 3 guys in Missouri. How did he do that? I mean, he cut a hole in the roof of the prison. Do you see that? Boom, out the door there, as if it was Escape from Alcatraz. And hopefully, did they find those guys, or are they still on the lam?
I thought they got them. Didn't they get them?
Oh, they did? Okay.
I thought they did.
Oh, he's dangerous, yeah. How about that weird story, too, where the chick busted the guy out of jail? And then they ended up, he was caught and sent back to jail, and she blew her own brains out. Did you see that one? That was like a month ago.
You and I talked about that, yeah.
Wow.
Or maybe the 3 one I don't know about. That's one we talked about.
Very much reminiscent of the escape from Dannemora, right?
No, that
chick
was
got involved there, and that was a bit of a floozy.
The
husband was weird. Well played by whoever that actor was, man. He really portrayed like a weird upstate New Yorker.
Weirdo.
Extremely well. All right, thanks everybody for tuning in. Degenerate Friday tomorrow here on Ion Channel. The unveiling, Versace Mansion Saturday night. Google the unveiling. Bingo. You'll have all the information. Public invited. Masquerade party. They had a lot. Masks were big. Those type of masks in Italy. They were being sold virtually everywhere, Lubie. You got like a gelato and a mask. It was incredible. Meatball and a mask. Whatever you wanted. They were huge with masks. Do you know the reason for that? I mean,
no idea. Maybe the opera. I mean, that's an opera thing. An opera thing.
Yeah, I didn't have a mask in the opera. I should have had a ski mask. I got it for free. How about that? Yeah. You think that was like $100 a copy, those tickets?
Probably.
We're sitting there in the front row. The guy literally almost fell in my lap when he was pleading with the old man there. Oh, sole mio. All right, we'll see you tomorrow at 7 in the a.m. with our Degenerate Friday program here on ION Channel and our other platforms. Till then, for Mike Lubitz, I'm Jeff Deforrest, and join us again tomorrow at 7 as we leave it on that.
The time.
It's 9 o'clock.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my show.